share with us some very beautiful information. Robert, Morning Sky. I'm not sure I would call it beautiful.
Very interesting point of view there.
Yeah, it's perspective. I'm just saying that I'm not sure I would call it beautiful, but
Well, no, it's like it's the way it is.
It's bare.
Yes,
It's bare. Yeah. Is there anyone that wasn't there last night? Yes, there has to be, because some of you I haven't seen before. Yeah.
fasten your seatbelt, honey.
Yeah.
What I want to do in the next 3 hours, actually I just found out my plane leaves at 9.
Oh, wonderful.
All right.
I thought it was at 6, and we've tentatively got 3 hours planned, and then maybe a half an hour, 45-minute question and answer. However, time permitting, the forum permitting, Wayne, Mary, and the rest of you demented enough to want to continue. We'll take it up to within about 2 hours of my flight time, if you want to.
Yes. Oh, yes.
It's crucial. It's crucial that there's several points I need to make. The first rule of my workshop is this: don't accept anything I tell you. Do not give me any sort of credibility. Don't believe a word of it. I want you to challenge it. I want you to question it. If I'm making a point up here, you need to ask a question, please feel free. We'll try to break down the linguistics. We're going to give you a lot of hard data. Your head's going to be spinning after 1 hour. After 3, God save you, you're going to sleep almost not at all tonight. My name is, Again. My last name is Morning Sky. 2 words. If you put them together, I become Polish. Morninski. Morning Sky.
Is that a karmic thing?
Is it a karmic? Morninski? Actually, it was, this morning was the first time I heard this one. I was called Morning Robert Sky. By, of all people, Mary. So, yeah, what I would like to do is I am going to try to use some visuals. It was funny because last night at the lecture, Jacoby and Lee were doing some of the very same things I do in my workshops. So I was fascinated with some of their techniques. But I want to give you some visuals. I want to give you some linguistic data. I want to take you into the realm of the bear. For those of you who were not there last night, I want to use this analogy because it's important. Here's the bear. Now, if this gentleman here, he is, we know, the bear, right? Now, if I were to ask this lady about this individual, she might very well say, the bear is a nice, gentle, compassionate beast of nature. He's one with the universe. This is a gentle beast. You turn around and you ask this lady over here, and she might say, well, the bear is this nasty, rotten, evil carnivore. My question to the group last night, and to those of you who aren't here, is, nice, gentle, compassionate beast of nature is her truth. Evil, nasty, rotten carnivore is her truth. My question is, what is the truth? Is it a combination of the two? Is it somewhere in between? Do we need to poll the entire universe to get an honest opinion of what the truth is? My answer, my suggested answer to you, it is not her truth and her truth combined in between. The truth is simply the bear. The bear simply is. He's not good, he's not bad, he's not evil, he's not kind, he just is. That's the truth. What I want to today pursue is what I'm, again, going to couch very carefully as the truth. I'm going to suggest it's the truth. You decide. You look at it, and if nobody bails out on me, it'll be the first time.
Really?
Oh, really? I have
You don't
yet-
know how demented we are.
Find out. So, what I'm going to do is I need to, in the first segment, I need to get you to suspend disbelief. I need to get you to try to be as open as possible. My understanding of the club of choice, and because some of you are back here a second time, you do have an open mind. But I wanted to take you back. I'm not going to get into the history of the Star Elder at the moment. We'll do that in the second segment. What I first want to do is to build a foundation of something you've probably never heard in your life, which is the history of our galaxy. The history begins with a small point that supposedly exploded. And from this tiny little pinpoint, boom, the Big Bang. And according to scientists, astronomers, all of our brilliant scholars, the Big Bang contains all the stuff of our universe. Now, the Big Bang, according to our scientists, occurred approximately, 15.5 billion years ago. That's the common consensus, the common thought. But if any of you have read Newsweek magazine, Time, any of the new science magazines, Discover and Omni, you're going to find they have a problem, because they are finding now that there are stars that, according to the very same techniques, now measure over 20 billion years of age. All right, now here's the problem. How can you have the Big Bang 15.5 billion years ago, and you've got stars 20 billion years old? And they're coming up with all kinds of excuses. The data is wrong, the measurements were wrong, these scientists are wrong, and so they're having this little battle because it doesn't fit. Well, here's a simple solution proposed to us by the Star Elder. There wasn't one Big Bang. There were several. Now, you and I'm going to assume, are not brilliant MIT scientists that have spent 20, 30, 40 years studying all this stuff, and you and I figured it out. There wasn't one, there were several. And what's happening is, there was another Big Bang over here, and it threw out stuff, and now we've got 20 billion-year-old stars that are beginning to intermingle into our, universe. Each Big Bang produced its own universe. Some are 20 billion, 40 billion, 50 billion, several hundred billion years old. So, number one example of man's arrogance. I'm a scientist and I know. There was only one. Only one. The arrogance of our scientific minds would say only one. All right. Let's stick with just our Big Bang, our big universe. Boom, the stuff exploded and it spread out, and unfortunately, the concept that the universe is full of stuff is wrong. It's not. It's like a big, stringy, gooey mass of spaghetti that got thrown out there, and in between these long strands of stuff, there's nothing. There's a void. As the stuff was thrown outward from the Big Bang point, the sum of it started to gather together and swirl. And it formed stars. It formed galaxies. And I want to condense billions of years into a few minutes here, and I want to talk about one tiny little galaxy, one swirling, spinning galaxy that is called Eridanus. E-R-I-D-A-N-U-S. Eridanus is the name of our galaxy. It's a very, very old name, and as a matter of fact, you will find it in Greek writings, you'll find it in Roman writings. E-R-I-D-A-N-U-S, Eridanus. Eridanus is enormous. It is one of billions and billions of galaxies. But I want to... I did that pretty good, I thought. What I want to do is I'm going to put the center of this galaxy, our galaxy, right here. And the spinning stars begin to, as they work all the way, you should put a table here, all the way to the outer edges of the galaxy. Right? But approximately 2/3 of the way out, in one of those long swirling arms, right smack right here, life evolved. There was the right mixture of gases, a spark of lightning, everything was right. Boom. life was born. One cell became two, became multi-celled, it became jellyfish, it became fishes. Some of them crawled up on the beaches of this little planet that formed on the star, and then it stood upright and it evolved into a humanoid. This is humanoid. All right? A head, arms, legs, and a torso. We, arrogant humans, say we're humans, we're humanoid. But point of fact, if you have, I'm sure you're familiar with the evolutionary formula, it says that somewhere between that first cell and us humans, there was an ape. You plug in an ape down here, and you end up with ultimately what is a hairless ape. That's what we're supposed to be. Well, some of us more than others. A hairless ape. But on this, in this star system, on this planet, instead of plugging in an ape, you need to plug in a small dinosaur. A reptile who evolves into a hairless, scaleless humanoid. We have on this world a reptilian humanoid. Now, humanoid is not the exception in the galaxy, it is the rule. In fact, this form, which happens to be upright, also exists on 4 legs. A dog is humanoid in form. It has a head, torso, 4 arms, back legs. A cat, even fishes, have vestiges of 4 legs and back legs, even snakes. The Star Wars conception of the octopus and the 12-headed and 5-armed and you know all those creatures, no. This is the rule. Humanoid reptilians evolved on this little star system. Now, this star system, which is approximately 2/3 of the way out. When these reptilian humanoids evolved, they looked up into the heavens and they saw a moon. And they said, let's build a ship and go to the moon. Now, plug in a reptilian humanoid into our own history and you're going to get the same results. We're looking out there, we're beginning to, I shouldn't say beginning to, we will conquer the moon here shortly. Well, these reptilian humanoids conquered their moon, they conquered the rest of the planets in their solar system, and they then began to go beyond their own star system. These reptilian humanoids were real heavy dudes, warrior conquerors. The kings were nasty and vicious, and they created an empire. In this galaxy, one of the oldest empires is the Reptilian Kingdom. These guys were vicious. The rest of the star systems recognize them as Ari. It is a rolling R. They were called the Ari, which literally meant overlord or master. This was the ultimate master, the ultimate king. They were called the Ari. The galactic word, and you can find it in Sumeria, Babylonia, Egypt, and all of the ancient languages, the word for heaven is An, A-N. This became known as the Reptilian Empire of the Aryan. Nowadays, we call it Orion. The Aryan Empire, reptilian kings who had created through conquest an empire, a warring empire, and they were good. They built and lasted in their empire longer than the others. It is at this point the oldest empire in our neck of the woods. But I tell you something, as good as the kings were, a certain point, the queens took over. And here's another galactic rule. Never piss off the female of any species.
Do you know what Murphy's Law is? Do you know what Murphy's first law is?
First law? Okay.
Don't piss off Mrs. Murphy.
Well, that's a galactic rule. Never piss off the female of the species, because as good as the Orion kings were, the Orion queens were nasty, mean, vicious, and colder. And the empire that the kings had built, poof, it became much larger. It grew geometrically. The Orion Empire to this time frame, this time period, is the single most powerful, the biggest, and the nastiest empire there is. All right? So, you're not taking notes. Are you taking notes?
I'm not taking notes. No.
Well, you'll have to come on. I want to introduce to you...
I have to get up with my puppy dining for another.
No, you don't have to say anything. I want to introduce to you the Orion Empire Queen. The reptilian queen. Now, remember this. We have here the core of the galaxy. Very dense, very thick with stars, far too dense for life as we know it to exist. Now, did I say there's no life there? No. It is far too dense for life as we know it to exist. Now, approximately 2/3 of the way out from the center is the Orion Reptilian Queen Empire. Okay? But here is a very crucial aspect of the galaxy. What's the main highway that goes through Houston?
45.
Is it 45?
1045.
I-10. Oh, I know I-10. See, it goes through Tucson. All right. From the center of the galaxy, right through the center of the Orion Empire, all the way to the outer edges is I-10. And the queens have a lock on I-10. They've got all the McDonald's, they've got all the Burger Kings, they've got all the Wendy's, they've got all the Super 8s, they've got the Hiltons, they've got all of the resorts, they've got all the gas stations, they even have the patrol cars that go along and issue the ticket citations for speeding. In other words, her main income comes from the travel through Interstate 10. Anybody who comes in from another corner of the galaxy, from another galaxy, has to land on the outer edges, and there's only one road to take, I-10, and where does it go? Right here.
I told them.
So, the Reptilian Empire is, I don't want to say dependent on, but a major check every month comes to the Queen because of I-10. Right? Now, going through I-10, getting to the outer edges, suddenly another star, poof, is created. Another star system is old. And on this star system, on one of its planets, poof, another humanoid. Another evolution. But this time, instead of... I can borrow you again. This time, right here, it's not quite on I-10. Step back just a little bit. He's not on I-10 yet. We want you to plug in, instead of a lizard, instead of a dinosaur lizard, instead of an ape, plug in a wolf, a jackal, and you get a hairless wolfman. These people were known as Kanus. This is K-A-N-U-S. Kanus. The dog kings, the wolf kings, the jackals. And these guys were nasty. They evolved into humanoids. They looked up to the moon. They did the same thing the Orions did. And they looked at the other planets and they began to conquer and create their own little empire. And now remember, these guys aren't as old. And Kanus is the root word for canine. But these guys, when they conducted war, had a different technique. You go in and you conquer this world. You either obey the canine or the Kanus kings, or your lunch. They devour their victims. They literally eat anyone who does not obey the king. Kanus is the root for canine and cannibal. This guy eats his victims, devours them. Right? And as he begins to expand his empire, he starts to move slowly and slowly toward, guess what? I-10.
Are
Now,
you serious?
the reptilian queen looks at this hairless little wolf man and goes, okay, wait a minute. Billions of years of warfare have taught the queens a very necessary lesson. Nobody wins in war. You're going to lose life. It's going to cause destruction. So the reptilian queen sends an emissary to the wolf kings and says, okay, listen here, dude. By the way, it's a galactic word. Dude. Look, dude, you're getting too close to I-10. Now, I can come down here and I can mess you up big time. I kick your booty all over this place, but let's do this. You watch I-10, and from this segment out, you can have the McDonald's, you can have the franchises, you can have the cops, the toll booths, you can build the resorts. You collect everything from this point out. With this condition, I'm making $1,000 a month. I want you to send me my $1,000 a month plus 10%, and you can keep anything above and beyond that you collect on I-10 out here. Well, the Wolf King goes, well, I can't piss her off, or she's going to come down and kick my butt. So they agreed to a tenuous truce here. She says, send me my check every month, we'll let you alone. He now has her backing. He can begin to expand and go into other stars and says, look, either you start paying me or I'm going to tell the queen. So he now has credibility. He now has some backing. She now has the mentality. This is the dirty work. Here's the executioners. Now, how many of you are familiar with constellation lore? Orion in the constellations is who? The Grand Hunter. Okay? But he has two loyal and faithful dogs at his feet. Right? I'm sorry? Right. I'm going to show you just a very quick linguistic breakdown here. The war technology. The Orion queens learned something from war. You're never going to win. So they decided and developed a technology so that when they came into a new world to conquer it, she figured out, why eat you guys? I mean, this is a total waste of perfectly good servants for the system. So she said, what do we do? And her scientist, her military general said, look, instead of killing them, instead of eating them, let's very simply reprogram the brain. You are an electronic biochemical individual. You can be reprogrammed. So they developed the technology to put someone in a chair and they go, zap, okay, we'll just rewire his head. Yes, ma'am, anything you want. I'm obedient servant to anything that you want, my dear queen. This technology, the Orion technology, was referred to as the consonants M-K, mech, and the K is a guttural K. It's like a G. It's as if Loch Ness Monster. It's actually Loch. This is Mach. Right? The royal technology of the queens was known as Mach. This guy, the wolves, the Wolf King, said, screw it, let's just eat him.
That name.
Well, their war technology was which is just either you obey or you're buffet, was as Dach. All right? Dach. He and his star system is now known as the Dach Empire. Right? Dark Empire? No. Dach Empire. He and his star system is the Dog star. To this day, we refer to the Dog star as which star? Sirius. Who in constellation lore are the two dogs at the feet of Orion? Right. Major Sirius and Minor Sirius, the two dog stars. So, we have the reptilian Mach Empire, the Syrian Dach Empire. These were the dogs of war, the dogs of war, the enforcers of the Orion Empire. Alright? Now, core of the star system, I-10 goes to the reptilian empire, goes through now the canine empire, all the way to the outer edges. I-10 is crucial. Dude, you better pay that check every month or your butt's in trouble. Alright? Now we have another event. It's out towards the outer edges. Suddenly, there's another star. Another star is born, and it is called Bod. The Bod star lies between Sirius and the edges. It's a brand new system. One of the Wolf Kings says, you know what? New star system, new planets, more ore that hasn't been mined, precious minerals, elements, and guess what? There are planets on it. You can have a seat for a second because I want to show you something here. Thank you.
Retiring to my chambers.
You're going to go reprogram someone, he's going to go eat somebody.
Don't mess with Mrs. Mercury.
The Bear and the Wolf. You're becoming instrumental in my lectures. Can you travel? All right. The Bod star system. I don't know if this works though. Where's that blue one? Blue one's better, right? More visible. All right. The sun was called Bod. It literally meant the place of death. In the star system Bod, gas and dust accumulated, and two planets formed at the very beginning. At the very outset, one tiny little planet roamed around. It was called the Moon. And further out, a planet which I'm going to call Planet X. Those are the first two that formed. But then the dust and gases coagulated, and more pairs of planets formed. One pair formed here and here. Whoops. This one we now refer to as Venus. This one we refer to as Mars. By the way, this one is obviously Mercury. These two planets, it's in the Terra papers, I don't want to get into it real heavily, but this one was called Lach-Mu and Lach-Hamu. And then Planet X. More pairs formed. Two large planets formed out here. One that is now recognized with the ring. This was Jupiter and Saturn. And then another pair further out, Uranus and Neptune. The names are in the Terra papers. They're at this moment not crucial. But please note, how many planets do we have? Only 8. And one mystery planet between Mars and Jupiter. Where is Earth? It did not exist. It wasn't here. The Dog King sent down a being that you're going to have to become familiar with. A scientist. Someone who knew how to create a planet. He was called a Genesis scientist. Now, a Genesis scientist a la Spock in Star Trek. Wasn't he the one that did a Genesis experiment in one of the movies?
Yeah, it was Kirk's son was involved with it.
No, but he was going to too.
Yes. A Genesis scientist is able to genetically manipulate beasts, plants, and atmospheres. He knew what kind of plants he needed on which planet and what kind of animals he needed to support the planets. He knew how to create life. He could take the DNA of anything, mix it with something else, and end up with a creature. A Genesis scientist was sent down And he took a look at the solar system. His task was to develop it and to get all the gold, the diamonds, the ores, all these precious elements. And he came down and he picked Planet X. Planet X at that time was called Tiamat. I'm giving you the words that you can actually research. You can go to the 12th planet, you can go to the Earth Chronicles, you can go to Babylonia, Sumeria, you can find these names. This mystical ancient planet. And he developed it. The Wolf King used the Genesis scientists, and Tiamat became Las Vegas, man. It had resorts, it had casinos, it had buffets, it had all kinds of perverse, demented, rotten, evil. It was a great place. Las Vegas. Anybody coming in from I-10, the first place they got to was this solar system, and they went straight to Tiamat. And payoff was 99.6%, so they were making money. And then they had to go into the star system series, and then they had to go to Orion. And the Queen says, all right, Wolf King, man, not only is he making the money he's supposed to make, he's giving me a cut off of this. So she was making more money than she was in the beginning. He's got control of Las Vegas. He's getting really wealthy. Both empires are growing, all because of Tiamat. Wow, good move, King. This is really good. Well, these two planets, the inner two, became fortresses. They needed a military. They needed a police substation out right then. So they established two military outposts. These two planets, the big ones, the atmosphere was liquid metal. It was hydrogen. It could not be breathed. The gravitational forces were too strong, and so they discovered you can't do anything. You can't put life there, but it's got several moons, both planets. And we can put people on these moons. Why? Because you know what? If you put a production facility inside, you can put a refining center in the core of these planets, and because of the gravitational forces, you can create elements 110, 112, and a crucial key element number 115. You're going to hear that one over and over again. Write it down. Element 115 can be created in the core of these planets where it is unstable anywhere else in the solar system. You need supergravity. These two became production facilities, refining of the ores that were taken from these other stars to Jupiter and Saturn. Uranus and Neptune was the swampland. It was the forest of the Florida Everglades. It was a real estate agent's dream. We'll sell him land out here, and someday in the future we're going to develop it. It was a good place to conduct underwater experiments. It's a great place if you like water and swamp. It didn't develop it to any great deal, save Neptune. Neptune has some very unique circumstances occurring on its inner core. It became an energy source. It became like a generator center, like way out on the outskirts of town. I want you to read what you can about Neptune and find out whether or not it's emitting any energy and what's unique about the energy that it emits. You check it out. All right. The solar system was doing really good. The king was making money for the queen. She was really happy. And then stuff happened. Now, let's do a real quick study here. Wake up, I need you. Wolf King is out here. The reptilian queen is over here. Okay? Here's where we start getting soap opera time. Now, he's got Las Vegas out here. All right? And things are happening, and one day, the king has a brother-in-law. Did you get his brother-in-law? I'm sorry, I said brother-in-law, it's his brother. Now, his brother is called the royal cupbearer. He's the number 2 in command. He's like the vice president, okay? But I'll tell you something about the canines. I'll tell you something about the jackals. Don't trust a wolfman, because they eat their own. Anything to ascend to the throne. The worst stories you've ever heard in medieval kings and princes and all the assassination plots is on steroids here, man. This guy was after the throne, period. Most of the kings who ascended to the throne did not get there through rights of succession. They got there through assassination, murder, poison, you name it. Well, this brother has been plotting for quite some time to undo royal king. His name was Han. It's immature at this point. He was the one responsible, right? Well, he goes to go see the queen. When he comes back, there's an ambush. They assassinate the great King Han. Sorry. Now, A-L, he steps onto the throne. He is now the king. But, did you come up, Rich? The great King Han has a son. His son is called Anu. Anu looks at him. Now, do you think he's pissed off at him? In a second. He knows he's still alive, and he's got family and followers. He's still got links. He could do him in, but he could use his support, so he decides to make him vice president. This way, I've always got him in control. And then she's going, boys, just don't mess with my check.
Slap him around and send me that money.
She says, we better talk. So he flies all the way over to see the queen. Right? And he sees the queen, and what happens? The throne's empty. And Prince Anu goes, gotcha, man. And he steps in and he plots an ambush. But do you think he's already played this game before? Damn mention. And as he's coming back, he goes, oh, poop. Now, he's been overthrown. The Anu family who originally created the solar system, these guys, I mean, it was his dad that started everything. He's not in great favor with the Syrian people anyway, but where's he gonna go? He knows if he comes back, his butt becomes a can of Alpo. So, so where can he go?
The new solar system.
He goes to the no solar system way out here.
See you on Earth, buddy.
He moves in to Las Vegas. He was instrumental with the Genesis scientist who started it anyway. He's got a lot. Now, this is King Al in the solar system. This is King Anu. This is the reptilian queen. So we now
Does she
have...
have a name, I know?
Yes, she does. And we now have...
And it is.
the king out here. And he says, all right, let's bump his ass off, destroy whatever it takes to get rid of his ass. And she says,
No.
don't mess with my check.
Right.
Work it out. So he says, Queen, tell you what, I'll give you everything that you were getting before plus 10%. And I'll give you all the gold that we get from our solar system. And the queen says, whoa, such a deal. And she goes to the king, the wolf king now, the prince who has been, well, his dad was killed, and tells him, knock it off. Relax. Don't mess with my check. So now, he's alive and well, and he killed his dad. Is he pissed? In a second. And now he can't kill him because she said, don't mess with my check.
Right.
Is he pissed? Even more so. So, we have a tenuous truce. The queen's getting her check. He's getting his cut, but he's still pissed because this guy is alive and well. And all the poop that he's done to his family, he's alive and well. Well, things were okay for a while until his son has his own son. His grandson is born. The son, his immediate son, is killed. And the grandson, would you give me a second? This is going to be good. I love this. This is the grandson. And now, remember, he is the grandson of him. He was on the throne. He is an heir to the throne on the star Sirius. But it was removed, his future on the throne of the star Sirius was removed because of who? Him. Is he pissed at him?
You bet.
In a second. Because he did to him what he did to him. Okay? So, he signs up for West Point. Granddad, I want to become a soldier. And he signs up for the foot soldiers, the ground forces, and they're called the BEH. B-E-H. He becomes a master. I mean, he goes to West Point, he gets all the grades, he learns all the tactics, he comes out with a commission, he gains a commandership of some of the ground forces, and we now have a master at West Point. Is he satisfied? No. He comes immediately to his dad and he says, Dad, I want to go to Annapolis. I want to learn all the naval tactics. And he signs up and he goes to the academy and does the same thing. He becomes a commander of naval forces. He learns the ground forces, the naval forces, and if that ain't enough, he goes back to his granddad and says, Granddad, what's the Air Force Academy called?
Air Force Academy. Colorado Springs.
All right.
Air Force
Air Force Academy.
Yeah. He goes to the Air Force Academy. And he's signing up. Now, he is becoming, and in time will gain the title of ZU. ZU. Now, ZU is a term, a military term that is applied to the ultimate commander. The commander-in-chief, Eisenhower, would have been called ZU. He was a master of all three forces. And in the meantime, she's saying, don't mess with my check. In the meantime, he's going, I want to get that some once and for all. And then he finds out his grandson, Lord ZU, has mastered all three of the military forces. Is he worried? I bet you he's worried. Because now you got a potential threat here. Well, King All dies. Old age. Got a bone stuck in his throat. Something happened. He passes away.
What's the tentative lifespan? Like hundreds of thousands of years?
Hundreds of thousands of years. We're talking about probably, and then this little short battle, 1,000,000 years. Okay? He passes away. He's ascending to the throne. His family has a lock on a relationship with her. Is he worried? Damn betcha. He is. And so he says, well, wait a minute. I know you're the king, but I have a far more important position for you. So he summons him, and he brings him to the Syrian kingdom, where he becomes vice president. Right? So he goes to be vice president. Now what happens to the throne over here? He sends his oldest son, we'll talk about him later and give you names, but he sends him over here and he becomes temporary king while he's watching him. Well, he is obviously pissed because this whole circumstance has removed the throne from his grasp. So he decides to make a plot with the people, his soldiers, all of the forces he had worked with back on planet Earth. Back on the solar system over here. So one day, the son, the temporary king, says, Dad, I got a problem. You got to come down here and handle this because nobody's paying any attention to me. Everybody is listening to all. Listening to the family of all. They want King ZU. There's strikes. There's protests. You got to come down here. You better bring him down and make an appearance. So the two of them fly back to the solar system. But he set up a trap. The Wolf King says, look, no problem, we're going to triple the guards, quadruple the guards, and he sends a bunch of guards with him. They all come back down here. He comes to the throne. Huh? You come back to the throne? Oh, just like the Democrats and the Republicans. And he comes back over with him, but there's an ambush. And these two end up, he gets all his forces ready. They eliminate the son, get rid of his butt, don't kill him. They make him scurry off as he's coming in. They set up an ambush. His guards take over the entire solar system. They set a trap. He shows up, and he shows up in the Royal, the Royal Starship. This is a huge planet-sized warship. It is equipped with the single most powerful laser cannon in the technology.
Death Star.
Bingo!
Star Wars.
The Death Star. Now, you should start asking questions. You're like, Jesus, where's this coming from? Okay, here's the star. He comes down in his flagship, gets out of the flagship to go to the court. His troops take over this warship. He finds himself in a scout ship. He has to escape into wherever he can to get away. He seizes the Death Star. He seizes the solar system. His butt has to go running back to Sirius. And he limps back, and he took a big hit. He took a big hit getting back home. Now, is he pissed? The Queen says, what's going on? Don't mess with my check. So Lord, now King Zoo, says, Queen.
Yes.
Queen. And she steps forward and she says,
Don't mess with my check.
excuse me, this is my workshop. Wait a second. He says, listen, Queen. And the Queen goes like, yes. Checking him up and down. I'm like, got nice legs over there too. So she's starting to get kind of a hankering. He says, Queen, look, my family has always adhered to our treaty, to our agreement, and henceforth I will live up to anything and everything we have always agreed on, plus I'll give you an extra 5%. Wink, wink, wink. She goes, honey, just don't mess with my check and just come and visit me every once in a while. So they've established a direct relationship now. And is he pissed? He just lost his Death Star. He just got kicked out of his own solar system. Now he doesn't even have any direct control over this king as long as he obeys her. He's now got a direct line with him. The Queen. Wow. We got a situation. You got it. So he plots and he plots. And he can't find a way to break that relationship until one day, another reptilian queen begins to make some moves in the outer regions of the galaxy. She had been enemies at one point. She begins to move in out here. And she goes to Lord Zoo and says, hon, we can do some conquering out here and get some wealth and create a mini little empire. So she goes like, you think we can work together? She says, oh, sure, I think we can work together. But the Queen over here goes, them two are getting a little too close, they're getting a little powerful, and he sees an in. He goes to the Queen and says, Look over there, man. Look at them too. You don't like her, I don't like him. They're plotting together. He created a rebellion. He overthrew me and seized an empire. He didn't have any backing. What do you think he's going to do now that she's over there? You have a question? No. So, he manages to convince the Queen there's something more than business over here. Yeah. So, she says, okay, let's do it. Just make sure that my paycheck arrives every month. So she sends her reptilian Mach forces that combine with the Dach forces, and they sweep down on the solar system. She flees back home. Thank you. And they sweep down on on the solar system. And from the outer edges all the way to the inner core, they destroy the planets of Venus and Mars that were once planets with an atmosphere with water, lake, trees, plants, and buildings. They devastated Venus and Mars, the military outposts. They came in, they destroyed the colonies on the big planets, and they went after Tiamat. He had, captured the Death Star. Remember that? He is now known as Arzu, Ares. And he conducts a battle. It's a very long thing. I'm sorry for the details I can't get into, but let's say this entire solar system is devastated, and whoops, where's my blue marker? Tiamat, the central capital, is attacked, and King Anu, the Wolf King, says, screw them all, destroy it. No prisoners. And he attacks the planet so strongly, so heavily, that it literally blows up. A large fragment on the backside is thrown inwards. The rest of the planet is in pieces, moons, different pieces flying different directions. One piece is thrown out and returns every 76 years. It comes back. The major fragment on the backside was thrown inward, and it caught in an orbit between Venus and Mars. That is the beginning of planet Earth. One of its moons was brought with it. What is left between Mars and Jupiter is the rubble. That's
Did Tiamat
the
have two
asteroid belt.
moons?
Tiamat had many moons. As a matter of fact, one of these moons was kicked out and became Pluto. One moon came with this planet and became Luna. Okay? What I have tried to give you here is a very brief galactic history. We've created a solar system, and now we have destroyed it. I want to thank you. You can sit down, but I want to show you some linguistic studies here. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. Now, Earth is created from the destruction of a central planet, the moons and Pluto, and life is devastated. God bless you. Venus and Mars destroyed in the colonies. Well, let's do some studies here.
Yeah, not only did you destroy the solar system, but then shock one too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let you reconstruct when you can. Don't worry about it. We'll put it together. We'll take a break in a few minutes, but I want to finish it off with this. I have just created a galaxy, I've just created a solar system, and I have destroyed it. Now, on this solar system, we had a king, a rebel upstart, the grandson of a wolf king who created a revolution and created an empire, and it was destroyed because of the rebel upstart. His name was Lord Zu, then became King Zu. It is the practice of the galactic kings and queens to always double the name if they ascended to the throne. It's the same as saying, well, there's a big rock and a big rock. It increases the power geometrically. Lord Zu, King Zu, was now called Zuzu, or Zuz. King Zuz built in his solar system the great palace in tribute to his grandfather Al. A palace or a gathering place is called Ambu. It was, God bless you, the central city, the central palace was called Al-Ambu. But when he ascended to the throne, he had to attach his name to the palace, but he would not remove his grandfather's name, so it became known as the palace of Al-Ambu-Zu. Al-Ambuz was the central city, the palace. We have Lord Zuz in the mountain palace of Al-Ambuz, who declared war against the gods on Sirius. Please read the theogony. The Greek theogony is the story of King Zeus, who resided on Mount Olympus, and he declared war against the olden gods on Osiris. The Greek theogony is the story, the real story of a rebellious king. In other words, guys, Zeus was real. Olympus was real. Osiris was real. And the stories of the Greeks with all these mythical gods of Hera and Mercury and Mars, in fact, were true. Those are not myths, they're not fables. It's about a real being, And it's why you can now look at Venus and Mars and several of the moons. You can see traces of water. There's evidence that there was life once there, but now it's gone. But why is Earth still alive? Why do we have life? 10-minute break. Okay. What I would like to do now is, this is the crucial point because it involves us. If any of you are familiar with Zecharia Sitchin and any of the Earth Chronicles books, the 12th Planet, Genesis Revisited, Lost Realms, Wars of Gods and Men, When Time Began, there's another one I don't remember, I missed it. But at any rate, this is where the Earth Chronicles begin. And I want to explain some things and show you with this reference why some of the things Dr. Sitchin is saying is slightly incorrect. But I want to begin with the Star Elder. In 1947, everybody is familiar with the crash that occurred in Roswell, New Mexico. Approximately 1 month later, a second disk came down in what is now known as approximately the Four Corners area: Utah, Colorado, Mexico, Arizona. I don't want to get too specific, but another disk came down. 6 young Indian men who were out on a vision quest were near the crash site. They were foolish enough to go out, discover the site before the soldiers arrived, and in the wreckage they found one live extraterrestrial. They rescued him, took him to the campsite, and there they began to communicate. Is it me or am I hearing voices?
He's ordering pizza.
Oh, pizza. That's okay. And I'm abbreviating. I am abbreviating the history here. We talked about it last night. For those of you not familiar, we have a handout. We have some material on it. But the story that I am presenting to you came from the Star Elder. The 6 young men referred to him as an elder in tribute to his wisdom out of respect of his for his place and the stories that he told. And the history that I am presenting is what I have reconstructed using the tales of the Star Elder, using his revelations, and plugging them into our own history. The little, 1 hour or so presentation that I just gave you is a result of approximately 30 years going back, digging up cuneiforms and hieroglyphs. I can read hieroglyphs. I can't believe this. I don't know how I can read hieroglyphs. And reconstructing this history. There isn't anything that's on here that we can't, in some ancient record, show the linguistic breakdown, how it occurred, where it's from. But now, man, what about planet Earth? I've shown you in the previous segment how Earth Tiamat was destroyed, flung inwards, and it actually, the remnants of Tiamat became planet Earth. Now, if you look at some of the tectonics plates books, this is the story of the continental shift. If you look at the earliest reconstructed tectonic plate maps of Earth, you will note that they have created what they call Pangea, one large massive continent that has broken apart and is now beginning to spread around to the other side, which was nothing but ocean. But if you know anything about planetary dynamics, it is impossible for a planet to naturally form with all the landmass on one side and the water on the other. It would be out of balance in a moment. It doesn't work. The only way you can get landmass on one side and a huge gaping hole with an ocean on the other side is if there was some sort of cataclysm, a chaotic event. Some astronomers and scientists are now saying maybe Earth was collided with a comet, an asteroid. Something interfered. They're right. The huge gaping hole left on the side of Tiamat was filled in with the waters, and the continental shift is now a result of Earth trying to heal itself, and all the continents are shifting over to fill up the hole that resulted from the destruction of Tiamat. Tiamat, the remains of it, came into the third orbit, but not completely unpopulated. There were small bacteria, viruses, and small animals that did in fact survive the destruction, the collision. And these plants, these animals began to thrive. They began to grow. It began to self-heal. And after a few million years, it actually became a planet with a minor atmosphere once again, and it had minimal plant and animal life. Well, so what? What happened to the Wolf King? What happened to the Reptilian Queen? Well, the Reptilian Queen, remember her priority. The check, hon, the check. The Wolf King says, got rid of that little upstart Zeus once and for all. But look what he did. He destroyed Las Vegas. He destroyed the solar system. He destroyed the foundries. He destroyed the refining facilities. He caused himself a lot of problems. And she says, hon, I don't give a damn. I want my check. Now, the Wolf King is indeed poop. He's got to come up with the bucks. But he destroyed Vegas. Now, is that smart? So, the Wolf King decides, I better fix it up. So he sends down his eldest son. Now this one is the key. His eldest son is known as Prince lɒԵya. E-A. Prince lʒԵya is a master genesis scientist. As Zeus had gone to Annapolis, West Point, and the Air Force Academy, so lʒEya had gone to the University of Arizona. School. Now, he had been to Yale, Princeton, Harvard, the equivalent. He had gone to all the medical colleges. Prince lʒEya, the eldest son of the Wolf King Anu, was a master genesis scientist. He was able to create hybrids. He could go in, he could take a planet and rebuild its atmosphere, put in the appropriate plants, build and supporting hybrid creatures necessary. Prince lʒEya. And the Wolf King says, go down to this destroyed planet and rebuild it. He had something to work with. There was water, there was land, there was some vegetation, there was some plant life. And so Lord Prince lʒEya came down to what is now Earth, and he began to rebuild. He found on the equatorial belt the right place, and he established a colony. He brought with him some volunteers. They're variously called the Anunnaki, the Nephilim, the Elohim, numerous names, but he brought a crew of technicians with him to reestablish the system. And he did so. In the very center of the equatorial belt, he built an agricultural biological center. And in it, he created the plants. He created a fabulous garden. And in the garden, he began to create the right hybrid creatures. He would oftentimes take the very creatures born of this planet. He would take some Sirian from the star system, Sirius DNA, and would bring and breed it, genetically mix it with the creatures here. This planet, however, has a nitrogen-based atmosphere. Nitrogen is poison. It comprises 80% of our atmosphere. I'm sorry. Yes, we need oxygen, but 80% of our atmosphere is poison. Not all of the Sirian experiments, as a matter of fact, most of the Sirian experiments didn't work. He had to take creatures which had evolved and could survive in nitrogen and use them to rebuild the planet. And he did extremely well. The garden was a tremendous success. The creatures that he fabricated, that he genetically engineered, began to spread out. And they gave off carbon dioxide. The plants took in the carbon dioxide. They created oxygen. And in fact, he repopulated the planet. Prince lʒEya was given the title the Lord of Creation. a Genesis scientist whose logo are two intertwining strands of DNA. In fact, it's the double helix. It is the root for the caduceus, the symbol that is used in the medical field today. The doctors. Genesis scientist, the Lord of creation, begins his garden and he's successful. And the Wolf King says, son, you're doing extremely well. But you're spending too much time in the garden. I gotta get the gold. I gotta pay the damn queen. Every month she wants her check. Look, son, leave the garden alone. Let's get the gold mines going. Let's get the production facilities on Saturn and Jupiter going. We gotta get more diamonds. We gotta make some money, son. And he says, sure, Dad, no problem. ЭmoɔlɁ begins the facilities and he's successful, but he keeps going back into the garden. The Wolf King says, son, I'm sorry, we got a problem. You're spending too much time in the garden. So I'm going to send your little brother down. Now the little brother's name is Enlil. Enlil, younger brother of Эmoɔlዄ, is a business manager. He's an accountant. He's been to Harvard. He's been to Yale. He knows how to work the books. He knows how to be efficient. He is known as the Lord of Command because the Wolf King says, son, you've been doing real good in the garden, but your brother's in charge. Ultimately, he's what's going to keep us in the black. So he is going to be the Lord of Command. God bless you. He is known as the Lord of the Word. The Word is the command. As speaketh Enlil, so it shall be. Well, Prince Эmoɔlዄ, eldest son, the Lord of creation, is now having to share dominion with Lord Enlil, Lord of the Word, with two entirely different agendas. He wants life, flowers, stuff, beans. He wants profit, gold, black ink in the books. We gotta pay the queen. Yeah, no important how that is. So these two brothers are now sharing dominion over planet Earth. The Lord of the Word and the Lord of creation. Well, hundreds of thousands of years of feuding, the planet's populated, settlers coming down, Anunnaki, settlers, refugees from other planetary systems, they come down and Earth becomes a thriving operation, but it's a nitrogen-based planet. And because it had been through the destruction, through the chaos, its inner core is unstable. It keeps shifting back and forth. It causes magnetic anomalies. It causes gravitational anomalies. They pick up their laser cutting beams, light beams that can cut through stone like butter, and they get it going, but they draw their energy from grid lines. Grid lines begin to flux back and forth. Sometimes they're called ley lines. They couldn't get consistent energy from the planet itself. They couldn't get consistent gravitational forces. They had to breathe nitrogen. This place was a bitch to work in. So, Still is. Especially Houston. I feel like I'm swimming, man. I go to Phoenix, 102-degree weather, and it's 7% humidity. You know, you go to Houston, and it's like 80% humidity. All right. So these two are constantly fighting over who's got control. Now the workers, they go one day to Lord Enlil, and he's handling the books, and they got to do what he says. On the other hand, they still have to obey what Lord Эmoɔlዄ says, because he's the one responsible for repopulating the solar system and the planet. So they're caught between two bosses. And finally, the Anunnaki say, "Screw it, we're going on strike. We're not going to do anything for you guys. We've had it enough. If we have to make a choice, we want to get rid of the damn manager. Forget it. The books. We'd rather go with him because he lets us play a lot. He wants to go into the garden. He wants to have picnics, right? Well, so the word goes out, and they say, strike. Dad, the Wolf King, says, oh, geez. So he comes down here and he says, now what hell's going on? The Anunnaki are on strike. They don't want the Lord of the Word. The Anunnaki aren't really thrilled with lɒญี, but at least he lets them play. lɒญีwants to get rid of Enlil. Enlil doesn't want to be here anyway because he wants to be back up on Sirius because he wants to kick his dad in the butt so he can take over the throne of Sirius. Nobody wants the Lord of the Word, and he doesn't even want to be here. So the Lord Wolf King, Anu, so now what the heck am I going to do? We need to introduce one other character. Baby sister. Baby sister is known as lɒɘЯ. Okay? lʒɘЯ is also a Genesis scientist. She's not as good as her brother, but she's a Genesis scientist. She liked dabbling in the laboratory. So, lʒŒЯ, who was working with her older brother, one day she says, geez, we need to build a hybrid creature, one that can survive in this atmosphere, one that's strong so that it can carry some of the gold in the ore, because sometimes our electronic equipment doesn't work, and we need it to be able to obey a command. So she took one of the beasts that had developed here, and she took its DNA, and she took some Syrian DNA, and she mixed it together. The beast that she chose was called the Men, M-E-N. Now the Men was a strong beast, very thick of shoulder and heavy and strong, but even with Syrian DNA, and they took humanoid Syrian DNA, the beast could walk upright, the beast was strong of back, but it was dumb, couldn't obey orders. Well, the first beast, t噚ṟ. t뾱r literally means the great one or the original one. She created the Men t뾱r. Now the Men t뾱r was the men is the word used for a bull. With the humanoid DNA, she created the Men t뾱r, which is the Minotaur. The fabled bull-man beast was in fact one of the first hybrids she created. Good, strong, upright, but stupid. Didn't work. So she decided, don't work, we need a stronger beast, a quicker beast. We need one that can obey a command. So she then takes the next beast, called a Sen. The Sen beast was quick, strong, a little bit brighter, but didn't quite work. The Centaur. What is a Sen? A horse. Please check your local hieroglyphs dictionary and look up the word men, look up the word Sen, look up the word t噚r. Great one, horse, bull. Pardon me? No. No, that's a little bit different. You're on the right track, but a pile of poop is called a Senna.
And then doing the Senate.
Okay. So, one day she says, God, we're getting... Oh, look, you know what I'm telling you? I'm suggesting to you the Minotaur is real. The Centaur is real. And you know what? The unicorn is real. All of those fabulous creatures of Egyptian mythology, those ancient beasts, are real. They really did exist. I'm sorry, the unicorn was real. Well, one day, lʒɁЯ says, we gotta get something, man. This isn't working really well. We still need another beast. So, she went into the jungle, and she found a beast called an Appa. The Appa was a semi-upright, hairy, big, black, smelly, ugly, strong-armed ape. She took some of the Appa DNA and she took some of the Syrian DNA and she mixed it together, and lo and behold, it was a beast. He was upright, he was strong, he could live in the nitrogen-based atmosphere, and he could obey a command. She went to her brother and said, bro, I did something. You want to take a look at this? A little nervous, but in fact, it was man. And you know what I'm saying here? Do you know who created the prototype man? A female, a woman. And when we hear of religions that say that man was created by a woman, technically they're absolutely correct. But he is in charge of the project. He gets responsibility. He takes the prototype and he begins to make refinements. The ultimate sponsor responsible for the project called man is lɒญี, a male. But the actual hands-on creator of the prototype is a woman. Ooh. Did you know that in the Hopi world, in my tribe, we say that man was created by a female? There are still some religions that say that man was created by a female. It's correct. Well, lɒญีsees a plan in the beast. It works good. It's smart. It can obey a command. So when his dad comes down and everybody's protesting, everybody's on strike, he and his sister trot out this little ape. And this ape is able to obey commands. And he can pick up huge boulders. And the king wolf is going, whoa, all right, this looks really good. And the workers are going, hey, we can put him in the mines, we can put him out in the fields, and we can become the managers. And Lil goes, all right, now they've got a solution. The workers have some beasts they can use. He can take dominion. I can go back to my planet and aim for the throne. The Wolf King issues a command. Henceforth, lʒŒya, you and your sister will go into your biological center and you are going to create these beasts. You make the refinements necessary, and as soon as you have enough of these beasts, we're going to put them out in the mines, we're going to put them out in the fields. Their job is to serve the company. He's going, all right, I'm going home. He's going, all right, I'm going to be Lord. And the Lord Wolf King finally says, and my final word is this. The Anunnaki shall become the overseers. They shall become those who watch over the beast. lʒԷya and Lady Ninhursag will continue to create the beasts and be the lords of creation. And Lord Enlil is staying here, dude. I don't want him back in Sirius. He's going to stay here, and he will become and remain the Lord of the Word with final say. Man, did he have a fit? Wow. Well, Lord Enlil takes over. He's the boss. He tells them, put the damn beast in the mines, put him out in the fields. It's just an experiment. It's a hybrid. It doesn't have awareness. It doesn't have consciousness. It came from a damn ape. I don't give a poop. Work him till he drops. And he did. The beast was created not in nobility, but as a pure servant to the gods. I'm sorry. I'm going to disturb some of you. But it was not a noble creation. Are we created in the image of the gods? Yes. We've got their damn DNA. We look like they do. Well, was it a nice, quiet time on Earth? No. The only ones that were happy were the Lord Overseers. The original Anunnaki who were taking, all the beasts were taking care of all their burdens, but these two kept fighting. And Enlil, Lord of the Word, worked the beast until he literally dropped in the fields, he dropped in the mines. He said, I don't give a damn, it's just a hybrid. Well, lʒԷya, the Lord of creation, Da, or TA, it's a dental D, dental T, Da. lʒЭya, Da literally means creator, the creator. lʒЭya, lʒԷya, Lord of creation. lʒЭya is the root for Deus, Dios, Tao, Diauspitar. This is the name of lʒԷya is the root for all the terms that we use for God. I'll give you this one. ἐα. In all of the ancient languages, the suffix "u" means of. The works of ἐα, the hybrids, the plants, the reconstruction of the planets, everything that he did was known as ἐαου. ἐαου was in time changed to ἐαου or ἐαου or excuse me, ἐα. Excuse me, I'll do this again. ἐαου, 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 Yahweh. Yahweh is the linguistic root for Jehovah. Okay? Now, please, here's what I'm going to do in the next few minutes. I'm going to take the Bible apart. I'm going to show you it's a crock. And I'm sorry. Now, I'm also going to tell you, I'm not saying there is no omnipotent God. I'm not saying that there isn't the one out there. What I'm going to show you is that the one in the Bible is a crock. This is a complete misinterpretation of what actually happened. I'm preparing you so you can bail out if you need.
We know this. Not
tå ἐαϊκ. This is the crux. tå ἐαϊκ sees his beasts being destroyed. The dominion over planet Earth has been removed. He cannot, even because of the reptilian queen, and I'm not going to get into it at this moment, he will never ascend to the throne in Sirius. His entire life has been undone every time he attempts something good, which I'm sure you've never experienced. Every time he attempted to do something good and right, boom, was destroyed. Lord ἐα snaps. The reptilian queen, who is the originator of the system, who brings the wolf star system into the system, which imposed on the solar system the system. Keep the damn check going to the queen. It's funny, but that's what this whole thing is about. Keep the profit going. It's a business. Prince ἐα snaps. Breakdown. I've had it. Screw the system. Screw you, Dad. Screw you, bro. And screw you, reptilian queen. Ooh. And he breaks. So one day, he says, I've had it. I'm going to do something to the system. So one day, he sneaks over to one of the beasts. And he said, you're happy, aren't you? No. You get days off, don't you? No. You get a dental plan, though, huh? No. And he said, but you had lots of fun and pleasure on your days off. No. Prince ἐα says, well, let me show you something. Come here. The system and the new beast is based on a very carefully engineered genetic breeding system. You have to have the right male with the right, yes, female, to get the right offspring. If he breeds with the wrong female, you get the wrong offspring. You may cop a beast with an attitude, weak, a defect. You've got to have the right pairing. So Prince ἐα goes to the beast and says, come here a second. Come here a second, let me show you something. He takes them into the garden and he gives them the knowledge of knowing each other. Away from the breeding schedule, away from the eyes of the overseers, and for one brief moment, for just a few seconds, he becomes like one of the gods. He is able to choose his pleasure when he wants, with who he wants, for as long as he wants, and the offspring and what is necessary to the system becomes unimportant. And you know what? The beast liked it. He liked to bunk. And lɒญีgoes, you like it? He says, And he says, go show some of your friends. And the beast went around and he began to show his other friends that they could bonk. They could bonk away from the schedule and away from the eyes of the Lord. They could bonk whenever they wanted, for as long as they wanted, and with whoever they wanted. In their wretched, miserable lives and serving the system and dying in the fields, for a few moments they had pleasure. And it revolved around bonking. So, one day, Lord of the Word summons the beast. And he says, look, female beast, male beast, come here. I've got a job for you. About 3 miles away, there's a couple of boulders, and they're full of gold. I want you to go over there, pick them up, bring them over here. They got to get on the ship, and it's going to be leaving in 1 hour. Got to pick up that boulder, get it on the ship, chop, chop, go. The male and the female beast hold hands, and they trot off to go get the gold. Due back in an hour. They come back 4 hours later. No boulder. Now, and Lord of the Word has a fit. What is the matter with you? I sent you out there. It's now 4 hours. You missed the damn ship. There's no boulder. I gave you the command and you didn't do it. I am really upset. Get the hell out of the garden. I never want to see you again. He kicked him out of the garden. And he's walking. I don't understand what's going on with these beasts. This isn't the only time this has happened. Now, every time I turn around, the beasts are doing whatever they want to do, and they're not following me. Suddenly, he hears some rustling in the bushes. And he sneaks over, pries apart the bushes in the garden, and there's 2 beasts in there, and they're bunking. What are you doing? What is the matter with you? Don't you understand that you're going to ruin the experiment? Who knows what kind of offspring we're going to get if you continue to do this? Get the hell out of my garden. And he kicked him out. And the Lord, the Word, in Lil, he begins to get upset. And I says, I knew it, I knew something was wrong. I knew I should never have trusted the beast. I knew I shouldn't have trusted my brother. That's it. My brother did it. The Lord of creation, Prince A, is the only one that could have gone into the garden. He's the only one that could have taught the beast how to do this stuff. He is the one that busted up the system, that son of a... And so he got upset. The Lord of the Word asserted his command. And he said, henceforth, any beast who is caught bunking without my permission shall be cast out of the garden. When I pair the 2 of you together, it is a union that shall never be broken. It is a sacred and holy union, so saith I, the Lord of the Word, and thou must not break that union. Not only that, henceforth, tå~EA, and everything attached to him shall be evil. He is against the system. He is against us. He is the most evil thing there is. The word for Lord is Baal. It's even used in the ancient Hebrew. tå~EA Baal is evil. tå~EA Baalik. tå~EA Baal is a root for, diabolical. Forget it. tå~EA Baal, diabolic, diablo, which is the root for devil. What was evil was busting up the system, was ignoring the rules that maintained getting a damn check to the queen. What was the way? Very simple. The ancient ones misunderstood. Many of the ancient religious elders misunderstood when they said, and a prophet shall lead them. Henceforth, saith the Lord of the Word, I am the only God. I am the only one. Thou shalt not have any other gods or lords before me. 2, henceforth, every seventh day, your butt is going into one of my meeting halls, and there you will praise me, you will promise to be loyal to me, you will obey all of my commands. So saith I, the Lord of the Word. 3. If I ever walk in the garden and I hear any one of you whispering about me anything nasty, if you call me names, if you in any way slur my integrity, henceforth thou shalt not use the name of the Lord in vain, or your butt's in hell, dude. And you know what, lady beasts? You remember how in the experiment we would take you into the birthing chambers and you could have your offspring and it didn't hurt? Well, now, bitch, go out there and have your baby, and it's gonna hurt, lady, because you're not obeying my commands. So what am I saying, guys? The Lord of the Word issued commands to punish the beast who busted the system. The beast who did that was kicked out. He was called Adamus. Adamus literally meant a created monster. Adamus. And the female was kicked out of the garden. Let me sum this up for you. The stories about the Lord of the Word, the Lord of creation, the creator of man, is not one God. It's 3 separate entities. Older prince, younger prince, and their sister. The commandments are literally commands issued to maintain the integrity of the system. It's designed to keep you serving. Now, doesn't this make a hell of a lot of sense? Well, let's take it further. Let's really piss some of you off. The beast got kicked out of the garden. Now, Prince Ea, Baal, the beast looks at Lord Ea. He is the Lord of those creation lines. What is that to a primitive beast? It's a snake. He's the Lord of the serpents. The Lord of the serpents snuck into the garden and seduced the beast by giving them the knowledge of knowing one another. That's the secret knowledge. The secret of the gods. Now, Baal was evil. He left the garden, he left the system, and he was wandering around in a colony that he established. And he said, sis, I got an idea. See all these rejects over here? You see these rejects? Nobody wants them. The system doesn't want them. What would happen if we took a life form and we gave it free will, complete control of its destiny, able to dream and achieve its goals, to have the passion and the fire to achieve its goals? What would life do without a system? What an experiment of free will. It could do anything. But sis says, bro, that's great, but they gotta live in the jungle. They gotta live with the other beasts. And you know what, bro? This is gonna be a problem. Because now they don't have a place to live. They don't have any regular food. They don't have any medical care. What are they gonna do? And I'll tell you what, bro, some of them are going to go back to the system. And they did. Some of the beasts are standing out here going like, oh, damn, there's lions out here. Lions, tigers, and bears. Oh, my. So they went back to the garden. And they said, Lord of the Word and Lil, please, we want back in. And the Lord of the Word and Lil says, thou may returnest if every seventh day you go and praise me. If you obey all of my commands, if you follow those regulations that I have established for the beast, then you can return, and in this way and only this way shall you be redeemed. Redemption lies in obeying my word and using me, accepting me as the one and only God. And some of the beasts said, yo, in a second. But some of the beasts liked funky. And the rules specifically forbade bonking. I mean, the question even the primitive beast has got to ask himself is, if I'm not supposed to bonk, why do I got a bunker? Prince Ea said, I got it. I know how to keep the beast from going back in the system. And I know how to fix the beast so that even if he does go back in the system, he's going to want to get back out. He's going to hate it inside the system. He's going to get frustrated. And I know how to do this. So he went to the beast. And remember, he's a genesis scientist. He took the DNA and he took that sexual stimulus response and he cranked it up and he cranked it up and he cranked it up and he cranked it up. So much that you know, to this day, the reject beasts think about bonking. According to a national report, the reject beast likes to bonk, or at least think about bonking, every 10 minutes. Did you know that? Did you know that the latest national survey says that the average citizen of the United States, every 10 minutes he goes, and then he walks around and every 10 minutes the average citizen thinks about bonking. And Prince Ea counted on it. What am I suggesting to you? I'm suggesting to you, you're a reject. You blew the experiment. You don't like the system. As a matter of fact, you'd rather bonk than work. You'd rather bonk than pay your taxes. You'd rather bonk than pledge allegiance. As a matter of fact, you'd rather bonk than almost anything. Now, some of you are going like, you too, huh?
That's almost.
And I'll tell you something else. You're a reject. And it's built into your DNA to be frustrated with the system. You don't like it when anybody tells you, thou shalt not. You don't care if it's your parents. You don't care if it's your husband. You don't care if it's the preacher in the pulpit. If it's a damn burning bush itself said, don't do it. You're going to want to go and do it. Because it's in your DNA. It is hardwired, guys. You wouldn't be in this workshop, you wouldn't be participating in any new philosophy, any new discipline, if you weren't a damn renegade reject. Renegade, dude. That's what you're here for. Now, there are some beasts who love the system. And when they retire, they get their gold watch, they get their little retirement home, they have their little boat so that they can go to the lake. They're very good at business, they're very religious, they're very conformist to the system, and this is not a criticism. Obviously, I'm a reject. I don't like the system and I love the funk. This is what happened. This is how we were created. This is what religion is about. They took this story and they twisted it. Yes, you know what? If you obey all the commands, you are going to get a reward, and you are going to be taken care of, and you are going to have a job, and you are going to have money, and you're going to have a retirement fund, you're going to have a gold watch after 20 years. But you're not going to be allowed to bonk when you want with who you want. It's about serving the system versus serving your own free will. Well, we're getting dangerously close to pizza time. But,
You sure?
okay, look. The Bible is a crock. There are some historical truths in it, but it's been twisted and it's been manipulated. I'm going to take a break here in a second, but I want to leave you with this thought. There are some beasts that were intelligent. And Prince Ea went to some of these beasts and said, you know what? You're pretty good at this stuff. You got a great memory. And you're able to, in simple terms, relay the information and the teachings that I'm trying to convey. So, remember the term Zu, which meant ultimate master? The diminutive of Zu is Su. It means a master, but not the ultimate master. Several of the beasts became very good at conveying the information, the teachings of Ea to other beasts. they became known as ÊmoɔlԵW, teachers who knew about the renegade way, who knew about busting up the system. êmoɔlEW is the root for Iesu. Now, who is that?
Esteems
Jesus. Iesu, you're correct. Iesu is, as the one that we recognize is Jesus. Please, look at the Bible. Look at the Dead Sea Scrolls and some of the new information they're getting. Jesus was a maverick. Jesus said, don't go into that damn church and pray like the Sadducees, the Pharisees, and the hypocrites. He said, go home, man. He said, go into your closet. He wanted to bust up the system. He went into the temple and went after the money changers. He was a renegade. He was pissed. He was against the system. He was an êmoɔlEW. He painted a target on his forehead, and he went out there and he was trying to speak to the masses, and what did they do? They nailed his butt to the cross. Tell me why I'm going to stop doing this on February the 1st of 96. Tell me why. I sure as hell ain't going to get nailed on the cross. Pizza time. 10 minutes. No. 5 minutes.
There are 4 large vegetarians and there are
blasphemous, heathen, outrage, antichrist, Satan, manifest, I mean,
Was that the UFO convention?
Here.
What can I get this ass company and then walk on one?
right. Okay.
You didn't give me the cup.
One of the reasons that I hit people between the eyes and then explain afterwards is I want to see who wants to make some assumptions about what I have said. Please, I think I even prefaced it before I began the last segment. I didn't say that there is no omnipotent, wonderful, benevolent God. I didn't say that we don't have spirituality, consciousness, and awareness. I said we began that way. I said the Bible is a product. That I will stand by. It's designed to manipulate and keep you in the system. Now, if you like that, you're going to get the rewards. My guess is that you're demented renegade rejects. Okay? So, let's now go into the third segment of where are they now? What if the story that I have been presenting, what if Zecharia Sitchin, what if all these ancient civilizations visited by extraterrestrials, what if it's real? Where are they now? Here. They're here. Okay. Well, why don't we remember these things? Why are there no records? What's going on here, guys? I mean, most of you probably, what I really enjoy is I'm sitting here and I'm telling you the stories and I'm watching you going like, yeah, I remember this, man. I knew this. Maybe I didn't have the right words. Maybe I didn't say it the same way, but I'm going like, you knew this, didn't you? On a gut level, this stuff is going like, I knew it, man. I knew it. Okay. Let me give you something that I hope, if all of this is making sense, watch what happens. This is the situation we're in now. You remember Prince Enlil, you remember Prince Ea, you remember Neen Hersag, you remember the Wolf King and the Reptilian Queen. Well, there was the son of Lord Ea. His name, in all the history books, is Marduk. Okay? Marduk is the firstborn son of Prince Ea, who all the ancient texts refer to as Enki. But if you look in all of the ancient languages, Egyptian, Sumerian, and Babylonian, the term Mar, or literally M-R, means son of or offspring. One of you's going off.
They're trying to find
Phone home.
MR literally means son. Son of what? Duke, which is Dach. He is a son or an offspring of the Dach. That is what he was named after. Marduk is Marduk. All right. Marduk, who had the throne of earth denied him because of Enlil, who, pardon me? Marduk left. He got into a lot of trouble. Let me give you about a 2 or 3 minute synopsis here of some history. You're going to love this stuff, but I got to make it very quick and very concise. Marduk wanted to become the king of earth. Unfortunately, he was descended from Enki. Enki ended up being the Diablo. He was the devil. He ended up being the evil one. So Marduk was never going to ascend to the throne. However, there was a period of time where Marduk had some influence. He had his own empire. He had his own kingdom. He was attempting to get to the throne by undoing Enlil. However, Enlil had his own family, and he had in particular a granddaughter, and her name was Isis, also known as Ishtar. Ishtar was a neat little bitch. She was one of the most scheming, devious, cunning little witches you've ever seen in your life. She also wanted to ascend to the throne. She was on the Council of 12 at the very bottom. Her ranking was 5. The grandfather Anu was 60. Marduk only had a ranking of 30. Isis, Ishtar, wanted to become the queen and take over everything. So she conspired to undo her grandfather. She had a twin brother. His name was Sin. Sin and his sister attempted to undo Enlil and to undo their father. However, it failed. Sin was punished. He was banished to the moon. He had to live there. Ishtar, Isis, was very unhappy. So she decided, well, in that case, I'm going to go after the the son of Enki. The youngest one, his name was Dumuzi. Ishtar, Isis, went to go marry Dumuzi. Marduk's youngest brother was Dumuzi. He went to go arrest Dumuzi to keep him from marrying Ishtar. Ishtar, however, plotted and planted an ambush. When Marduk's forces went to go arrest his own younger brother, the younger brother was assassinated by his own wife, Ishtar Isis. So she engineered the death of her fiancé. She, however, planted all the evidence on Marduk, and he was accused of killing his younger brother. Marduk ended up conducting a war to protect himself. He went into the pyramid with his fortress. He hid inside. He was sealed inside the pyramid. He became the great hidden god Amen. However, Marduk had another name. Amen-Ra. Okay? Now, this scenario, unfortunately, it's in Terra 2. Terra 2 is not complete yet. We haven't printed it, but you can find references to it in the Earth Chronicles, the 12th planet. Ra-Marduk, also known as Amen-Ra, sealed up in the pyramid. He was able to escape. He fled into the heavens, and he vowed that someday he would come back. Ishtar Isis decided to go and seduce her grand uncle, Prince Ea. She went, she seduced him, she got him drunk, she stole the tablets of destiny. Brother Enlil and Prince Ea had to go and chase after Ishtar. They finally got her to give up the tablets. However, she vowed that she would someday come back and she would take over planet Earth and she would create her own empire. So she fled off into the heavens. When I hear that there is a force that's going to save mankind, we're going to rescue you and take you to paradise. And it's called the Ashtar Command. Bingo! In a moment, I absolutely know who's behind it and what's going to happen. Send me a postcard. Ra, what is crucial here, I gave you a really concise and probably confusing history, but I tell you, the history of the wolf people reads like a soap opera on steroids. You can't believe the stuff they get into. At any rate, Ra flees into the heavens. Now, how many of you have seen Stargate? Okay, you got to see Stargate. Now, Ra comes back to planet Earth, and he gets rid of his dad, Prince Ea. He gets rid of Prince and Lil. He gets rid of Isis, Ishtar, Nin-Hursag. He gets rid of everybody. He cleans out the empire, and the only people that are allowed to stay are those who obey him and pledge allegiance to Ra. Ra becomes the one and only sun god. He is the Son of God. A prince born of the Creator God, who has to go away and he comes back. The second coming of the Lord Creator. What is that? Whoops. God, they're getting younger and younger all the time. Ra comes back with a new ally. He has new backing. Someone who is willing to underwrite his revolution, someone who is willing to move in with him and undo the Syrian kings. Now, what being, what person could possibly be willing to underwrite and undermine the Syrian kings? Clue number one, what is the headgear that Ra wears? What do you see in Stargate? What does that hood look like, and what the hell's on the front of it? A snake. A reptilian queen. The queen says, "You've screwed with my check, enough." And she takes Ra into her fold and says, "Go down there, dude, and do it for me." And the Lord God Ra becomes the one and only God on earth. But the reptilian queen ain't dumb. She knows you don't trust the Wolfman. So she sends some of her distant relatives, some reptilian hybrids, created specifically to serve and obey the queen. Right? They are called Shetu. Little lizard hybrids who follow and obey the queen's command. Now, the Shetu hybrid beasts also were created to serve the system. And one of the things that they were extremely good at was manipulating the stone cutting machinery. They became master stone cutters. They could use the equipment and cut blocks so square, so precise, when you put them together, you couldn't slip a piece of paper between them. The stone cutters, as a matter of fact, and Lil and Prince Ea actually used some of the Shetu before they even created the beast. In other words, there were Shetu hybrids on planet Earth working for the Syrian king and now for Ra even before man was born. The Shetu. This is the key. The administrators of Ra, the reptilian queen's insurance that Ra would always obey. Ra, egocentric sucker, comes in and says, "I am from now on the one and only God." And we have proof. We can show that Ra went in, he changed the hieroglyphs, he changed stone inscriptions, he changed the stelae, he changed the pyramid inscriptions to make himself the one and only God. From that moment that he took the throne, there would be no other God before him. He eliminated the existence of any other Syrian king, of any wolf king. No one existed before Ra. He changed the records. But there's a problem. We can change the records and show that there was never any president before Bill Clinton. Every single book, every single videotape, we can do that. But there's a problem. Memories. You've got hybrid beasts that are working for the system. You've got reject beasts that are working hand in hand with the system. There is a long time period here that we have basically skimmed over. But now there are some Adama beasts on the outside of the system. There are some Adaptus beasts on the inside. We are now in basically the period 6000 BC. It was civilized. There were humans everywhere. They're like some of them cockroaches. You may not like them, but they're here to stay. So, Ra changes the records, but you got the memories. Now what? Ra says, guys, don't you have a technology that would allow me to eliminate memories? Oh yeah, a technology. Reprogramming the brain. The reptilians are famous for it. Let's reprogram the brains. So, the Lord God Ra calls the Shetu stonecutters. They were loyal, obedient slaves. And he said, guys, I want you to erase their memories. I want you to set up a reprogramming center, and I want you to march them in there one by one or in groups, and I want you to reprogram their brains so that they will never remember anything above and beyond my existence. There will be no memory beyond the year 6000 BC, according to the way we refer to time. The Shetu lizards began to take row number 1, and they marched them down a long, dark tunnel into the reprogramming center where the lights were bright. You need a lot of light to reprogram the brain. And the beasts that were marched in there, they came out, yes sir, Lord God Ra, the one and only God Ra, there was no other God before thee, I shall obey thee no matter what thou says. Yes sir, anything you say. They were obedient. And they couldn't remember anything before Ra, but they had one memory. It was a long tunnel, the bright light at the end. They remembered that, but it nagged them, it bothered them, but they all had it. And the Shetu lizards were given free rein, complete liberty to do anything necessary to get all of the hybrids and all the residents of planet Earth and to march them into that damn tunnel. Lord God Ra and the reptilian queen said, look, you promised them food. You promised them all of their loved ones who had ever been in their lives and passed away, they're going to be at the end of the light. You promised them an orgy, you promised them heaven, you promised them anything it takes to get them into that damn light. You have complete and total free hand getting them into that tunnel. And from the day they were born, they were taught, go to the light. Your loved ones are there. Paradise is there. And go into the light and everything will be okay. It was. Because when they died, they were sent into the reprogramming chamber. They were brought back and put into another physical body. And they went back to work, obeying the system, doing whatever was necessary, and pledging allegiance and paying their taxes. And they had that long, nagging tunnel in their memories. Shit. Well, some of the beasts, particularly, remember the Asu? The Asu said, oh man, all that stuff we learned from Prince Aya, man, we're going to lose it. We're going to lose it. Now what would you do if you knew that you were going to end up being forced into a programming center and you were going to be forced to be reprogrammed and you were going to forget, but you needed to somehow leave a memory job? You sneak into a cave and you make some marks. You put down some sort of a symbol and you put it in the deepest, darkest cave away from the big cities. Someplace where weather and time is not going to damage it. Because maybe someday somebody's going to climb into a cave and they're going to see the lift and they're going to go, whoa, I remember this, man. I remember this. So some Asu began to plant clues everywhere they could. But some of the Asu, they said, you know what? What if Earth is swept clean somehow? Where else can we put it to be sure? There's the moon. There's Mars. Let's send some Asu, get them to the planet Mars, and we'll leave a monument. Let's build a face. Let's build a pyramid. Let's put the mathematical formulas. Let's put our science into these monuments so that someday maybe the beast is going to break free and somebody's going to go up there and suddenly there's a damn face on Mars and they're going to go, whoa! And somebody's going to remember it, and somebody's going to figure out the science, and they're going to figure out the mathematics. We're going to remember this story. So, they did. and lɒญีrun into the tunnels, and they were reprogrammed. And they came out serving the system. All right, so what? Very simple. The l̒Ɂ were stonemasons.
For what?
Stonemasons. Stone cutters. That was their original assignment. But they were given free hand to do anything necessary to get the beast into that reprogramming center. All right. In time, the l̒Œ said, "O Ra, thou once and only God who is dependent on us to do everything necessary, whom our Lord Queen said it's okay for you to be the king." Excuse me. We want it back. And they kicked out Lord Ra. But Ra had already figured out they're setting me up. So he said, who can I trust? The administration of the kingdom and my money. Who can I trust? So Lord Ra took the administration of the kingdom, removed it from the l̒ૠ. Now this is before the rebellion, and he said, you know what? There are a couple of priests I can trust. These priests were known as, you're right, the term then was tÂɁ, we now call it Pharaoh. Oops. The Pharaoh. They were entrusted with the administration of the kingdom. The money he gave to his children. All of my offspring, you hold the money, you control the money, we'll be okay, the l̒ૠ lizards won't get it. Ra, in becoming the one and only God, the one and only Father, was known as Ra-Ka, which literally means Father Essence, the ultimate Father. In approximately 6,000 BC, Ra turned over the money to Ka. Suffix M means of, offspring, the children of. However, Ka'um eventually became Kam, but Kam was an ancient word for shield. Okay? Now, I want you to watch this it's a coincidence. The administration of the empire was turned over to the Ra-Ka-Parea, or the Ra-Ka pharaohs, and the wealth of the empire was given to the Ra-Kam, or the Ra's shield. In 6000 BC, the two most influential groups, the power groups, were the Ra-Ka pharaohs and the Ra's shields. It's funny, but it ought to scare the hell out of you. Could this be Ra-Ka pharaohs and Ra's shields in control of the money and the administration of the empire in 6000 BC, 8,000 years ago? And isn't it a coincidence that we now have Rockefellers and Ra's shields? Is that possible, Robert? I don't know. You check it out. All right. So let's try a couple more things on you here. Let's begin to develop who the l̒ૠ are. The l̒UN undid Ra. And in fact, they went after the Ra-Ka pharaohs and they went after the Ra shields and they reprogrammed most of them. some of the Rockefellers and some of the Rothschilds said, yo, dude, do them. I'll do anything you want. If you leave me just my money and leave me alone. Some of them sold out. Now, Shed 2 became the government, the administrative government for the reptilians. Okay, the reptilian queens. Would it surprise you if Shed 2, the Shed 2 government, is the root of the term shadow or the shadow government? Okay? Who are the Shed 2? They were stone masons. But did you know that the secondary interpretation of Shed 2 is free? Remember, they had free hand, free liberty. They were the free Masons. Now, coincidence. How many presidents, how many kings, how many queens, how many influential societies throughout mankind's history are all members of the Freemasons? Even if there's only 2 that aren't. Curiously, the Shed 2 were the first Freemasons. Now, but who are these little lizard dudes? What if I told you that even further interpretations of the word Shed 2 literally means to seize or to abduct. Now, try to imagine this. Little lizard hybrids. Take a lizard, put it on its hind legs. Very thin body. Long, thin arms and legs. But a dinosaur head, they seize, they abduct, they take you in, they reprogram you. They're the shadow government. They're everywhere you turn around. And you know what they look like? Graves.
Oh my God.
I am going to suggest to you, we are where we are because of these guys. They were the original Freemasons. They're the original shadow government. They're the ones that reprogram. They're the ones that abduct. They're the ones that seize. And I am really sorry, but when I hear stories about abductions by grays, and it's all for some benevolent experiment to create some wondrous star being in the future, I'm sorry, that's a crock. That's the party line. You're supposed to believe that abductions are good. You're supposed to believe that going into the tunnel is good. Doesn't it bother you that everybody says, go into the light? Well, you know what? I'm going to stand in front of you and I'm going to say, don't go into that damn light. When you go in that tunnel and you see that damn light, here's a suggestion. Turn around. Look out here. Because you don't have to go in there. You can go out there. And you know what's out there? The universe and galaxies. And there's another light out there. You know what that light is? You. That's your light. That's the light you go into, man. It's your renegade, reject, bunk-loving light. And if I'm wrong, turn around. Go back into the light. Because if it is wondrous, if it is love, if it is benevolent, damn it, it'll still be there. Sir.
Anybody that has read all these abduction stories, isn't it unusual that benevolent is wonderful it's supposed to be, even though it's supposed to scare them, frightened to death. But if they control their mind, or they can't move and can't do anything, they're paralyzed. Wouldn't it be appropriate if they were benevolent beings, if they were surrounded with a cocoon of pink love, and they were just held into it?
Bingo. Look, if these guys are benevolent, why don't they just show up in Central Square and say, guys, we're here to help you? If they are on our side and they want to guide us away from our own atomic destruction, why don't they just show up and say, guys, you're screwing up? If they're benevolent, they're gonna be here. But why are they always behind the scenes? Why, even in Whitley Strieber's book, Communion, why when he's being abducted, he says, I know it's love, I know it's light, I know it's wonderful, I know if it's for our benefit, why am I so scared? Because it's a crock. Because they don't want you to know the truth. Because you're being programmed in schools, you're being programmed in churches, you're being programmed everywhere. Go into the damn light. Love and light and wonder and peace. I absolutely agree with you. I love it. But you know what? You're not going to achieve love and light and peace until you realize what they're selling. They're selling obedience to the light. Screw it. I'm going to suggest to you, you're light. One grand and harmonious universe. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Screw it. I don't want one grand harmonious universe, because that implies you and I and everybody, we got to think alike, we got to look alike, we got to do the same thing, we got to like the same thing. And so you know what? I don't want one harmonious universe. I want one universe for every single person in this room and anybody who wants one. I want billions and billions and billions of universes. You do whatever you want in your universe, because I'm going to do the same. And once in a while we're going to get together, we're going to dance, we're going to powwow, we're going to share, and then when it's over, I'm going home. I don't want one harmonious universe. I understand the premise, but it doesn't allow for an individual. So, I am the anathema of the New Age love and light, peace and brotherhood. You're not going to achieve... Look, if the light worked, and this is my opinion, I'm sorry, my opinion, but if the light worked, if pure innocent love worked, why are babes, infants, suffering these horrendous abuses? Why are the first ones that get hurt the children? Why do nuns and priests wrapped in love and light, unconditional love and light, why are they the first ones killed on the front lines? If love and light worked, you could wrap yourself in the love, you could walk across the freeway over here and you wouldn't be touched. Well, here's a secret, guys. Light is simply sun. Prince lɒ�Eya said, wrap yourself not in light, in enlightenment. The way to get across that freeway is to learn about cars and trucks and brakes in the traffic and wait for the stop sign, wait for it to say walk, and then you go. Because if you wrap yourself in this blind light and take a step, your ass is mush. Awareness, enlightenment, wisdom and knowledge. If wrapping yourself in the light would work, you could plop yourself down in a rattlesnake cage in a den and you never get bit. Sorry. Smart thing to do is to know which snake you can sleep next to. Don't be judgmental. I'm sorry. Judgmental means making a decision. And until you make a decision, you're not going to take control of your life. Now, here's going to piss some of you off. Some more? More. Don't go into the light. It's true. Go after your light. Make judgments. Trust your gut. It's okay to get pissed, and it's okay to hate. It is a valid emotion. It's okay to go, yuck, shit, I'm going this way. That's their universe. This is mine. My judgment, my gut says, I gotta do this. There is an experiment called free will, and it depends upon rejects. It depends upon renegades who are willing to follow their passion and say, screw it, it's a judgment call, I'm being judgmental. Screw Clinton, I don't care how nice he is, I'm going over here. On the other hand, pledge allegiance to Clinton, she'll have a job in civil service, and you'll never be a disgruntled postman. Am I making sense here? I'm asking you to make judgments. I'm asking you to trust your gut. What I am hoping happens here is you go, I remember that. I knew this. It's in your gut and it's been churning. But if this is a crock, when I'm saying it's a crock and I'm the Antichrist, hey, go for it. I'm sitting here telling you I'm on Prince Ea's side. I'm on the side of tÂÉA Ba'el. I suppose that makes me diabolic. And I like it. And I like to bump, and I like to break rules, and I don't mind screwing the government. As a matter of fact, I'm going to recommend ripping off the bank. Wouldn't that be great? Tell me you haven't thought about holding the bank down. Lie to me and tell me you haven't thought, wouldn't that be great? Guys, you're just like me. We're rejects. We don't like the system. We've been reprogrammed, and these guys are in charge. And they're still here. You had a question?
I have a comment.
You have a comment?
A very important comment.
Okay.
You said do not go to the light.
Yes.
Well, there are 3 books. It's by Bob Monroe with the Monroe Institute of Applied Sciences in Virginia. He took 35 years or almost 40 years of his research out of the body. He never went to the light. Never. He found his lights out there. He found himself, pieces of himself. So now what you're saying is really making sense.
Well, I hope so, because you know what? I mean, doesn't it bother you that everybody says, go to the light? But I'm also going to tell you that some people who go to the light are going to have wondrous experiences. As a matter of fact, I know 2 individuals who said they've been abducted by grays, and it was marvelous. It was wonderful. And you know what? If this person, one of us, goes into the light and is sent back, and she's programmed to tell us it's a great thing, that's the point. And trying to do anything they can to get us into the light, to allow for the abductions, to permit the grays who are being sold. Now, if it works for you, it's okay. But I'm suggesting that there's a trap. And if there really were benevolent ETs out there, why aren't they in our living rooms and on TV helping us? Why are they always hidden? Why is the government trying to say there's no such thing as a UFO? When what we should be asking is, who are they and what are they doing here? That's what's crucial. And they're saying no such thing as ETs, and some of them are benevolent and some of them are... Well, look, yeah, there are some good guys. There are a hell of a lot of bad guys. And these guys are the ones that are trying to keep the system going, and they're trying to keep us under control. And every once in a while, a renegade star system says, let's go down and screw the lizards. Remember lɒɁEya. This means Lord. lɒซี้. Led. He said, screw it. My son came in, he kicked me out. My brother kicked me out. My dad's upset with me. Planets and worlds, the reptilian creed. I mean, I think I've got it bad because I worked against a lot of systems, but man, he took on worlds, he took on empires, he took on a galaxy. And he said, I've had it. So he fled to another star system. He found a fledgling star system, barely a few billion years old. That's nothing. And he took over the system and he said, all right, here's the rule. One rule. There are no rules. Rejects, renegades, pissed off with the system, people, you can come to my star system. Tesh means a gathering place. It is, actually literally means a holy place, like a church. He fled to a star system and created a new colony. It was called lɒ�Eya Tesh. This star system was comprised of renegades, of rejects from star systems from all over. And they gathered there, and every once in a while, they are perhaps the most instrumental coming down and attempting to break up the system. That was good pizza. The SAR system lʒŒYA.
Oh, wow.
Pleiades. lʒԵYA. The Pleiadians are good guys in that they want to undo the system. But there are Pleiadians who said, screw the system, we need some help, we need some money, we need whatever. There are good guys, there are bad guys. But for the most part, the Pleiadians are the race at the core of trying to undo the lizards. Well, one day, not too long ago, they sent down a ship with some scouts looking for a break, a chink in the armor of the reptilians, the lizards. And they found a corridor where there's a tremendous amount of travel, very crucial to the lizards. It's like I-10, the Peshman 10. There's a corridor that runs through the Four Corners area. And they were looking for a way to break down the system, this corridor. Unfortunately, they themselves got caught behind the lines. They were attacked. The ship was downed. It crashed in approximately the Four Corners area of Utah, New Mexico, Colorado, and Arizona. And it came down in August of 1947. Who was in the ship? Sorry.
What did it look like?
I'll answer that in a moment. What I am suggesting to you overall, if you were raw and got kicked out, would you want to come back? If you were in Lil and got kicked out, would you want to come back? Do you think the wolf people want to come back from Sirius and take over the solar system? The reptilian queen constantly has those who want to undo her. Do you think the lizards might turn on her? I'm suggesting this to you, that there is a war on right now for planet Earth. We happen to be the guardians and the tenders of planet Earth. It is our task to go along with the prize. And it is absolutely necessary that when you fight over the farm, you do not disturb the beast who maintains the farm. You must not allow the beast to witness the wars. You must not allow him to be disturbed. You must not break the system for the farm. There is a war, and we are the prize. And the one, here is something, I'm going to leave you with this, and then I'll answer about the star when we go to questions and answers. Lord Ea, when he finally fled to the Pleiades, lʒԵYA, he said, you know what, man? I gotta give it a shot. I gotta do something. I have a beast who is not aware, who doesn't have a soul, who doesn't have a consciousness. He's a beast. Why can't I get that last little spark, that fire, that passion that would really make him an independent free will being? And so, he couldn't come up with something until one day he's approached. He's approached by beings from another planet, from another galaxy. And in that galaxy, there is no system. These beings had, in their evolution, left the need for a physical body. They had learned to use internal energy. They had learned to use their internal essence to climb the mountain. They didn't need a boat. They didn't need a ship. They didn't need steps. They were able to use their own energy. And as they used more and more internal energy, they needed less and less density. The Syrians and the reptilians said, screw using my internal energy, let's just build a damn escalator. So, these beings from another galaxy take the evolutionary formula and plug in a bird. A humanoid bird. And as they evolved, these beings lost their density. They lost their need for a physical body, but you know what? They liked funky. So, for courtship purposes, they retained their wings. But in the dark, when there's no sunlight, the energy beings glowed. And they came to Prince-Эя. They said, do you really want to give him passion? Do you really want to give him independent free will? And I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to give you one of our own strands of DNA. And you hardwire it into the beast. And you're going to condemn him to passion, an unexplicable fire. And Prince-Эya said, in a second, dude. And he took that DNA, and he went to the beast, hard and hard into the beast. And suddenly, the beast, the primitive beast, went, wow, man. You know what? There's more than the feels and the minds, man. There's a galaxy, there's stars. There was a consciousness. Suddenly he was linked with another race in another galaxy. Suddenly he was aware, he was conscious, there was this thing inside him. These beings were called Aku. The gift that was given to Prince-Эya, that was placed inside of the beast, was known as the gift of the feather. Now, Ea in ancient hieroglyphs, long A, is written as a hand extended out. Short A is written as a feather. Ea in ancient hieroglyphs is a hand extending a feather. The gift of the feather was that strand, that filament of DNA that makes you go, wow. It's about love. It's about irrationality. It's about fire. It's about knowing it's not good for you, but doing it anyway. Because your fire wants you to do that. The Aku said, Prince-Эya, please let your beasts know this. We're going to include a hardwired clue into this strand of DNA so that they will know, because they've never experienced it, you're going to know how and when you're in touch with your passion. When you're one with your fire, here's what's going to happen to the beast. He's going to see feathers. They're going to manifest in front of him. He's going to dream about feathered beings. He's going to have feathered beings in his life. Birds will fly in. Suddenly the feather is going to become a crucial part of his existence. And people who are one with their fire, one with their passion, they have dreams. And they go, whoa, an Indian guide. No. It's not cool. But what we on this planet recognize as a person constantly wrapped in feathers is an Indian. It's not correct. It's an Aku. The gift of the feather is this. When you're one with your fire, feathers are going to fall out of the sky. You're going to dream about feathered beings. Birds are going to appear. Feathers are going to appear in the middle of your living room floor. Feathers will be everywhere. It is the Aku. Now remember, the K sounds like a G. Aku. They became known as Lord Ea's lords. Prince-Эya's title was Enki, Lord of Earth. Lord Ea's lords were the Enkiels. The Enkiels. Angels. Who were responsible for the passion. Who were responsible for that irrational and illogical fire. It was a gift that came from them. But ain't enough. Prince-Эya says, wow, I got a beast, man, unleashed. Fire unleashed. Now what are you going to do with that? And Prince-Эya said, I only got one thing left to do, man. Prince-Эya, eldest son of the Syrian king responsible for the lordship of planet Earth and the solar system in this neck of the woods, Prince-Эya pricked his finger. And he took his own DNA and he mixed it with the beast. And in doing that, the reject became a son of the Lord Creator. He was an offspring of the God of creation himself. lɒŒYA endowed us through his own DNA with the right of royalty. We can assume the damn throne of planet Earth in our own solar system. We have the right to assume control of our planet. And we have the fire, and we have the passion. And you know what? The system says, Jesus Christ. Don't let them know this story. Because if 51% of them stand up and say, I'm as mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore, I want the aliens out, I want the Greys out, I have a right to the throne of this planet, we're going to take over and we have a right to do it. And you know what? We're going to make it a free will, passionate, bog-loving empire. The system doesn't want it. That's why you're being denied, manipulated, steered, and controlled. God bless you. And the lizard said, oh shit. What if they find out about the story? What are we going to do? And one of the lizards says, I got an idea. Let's take the story of the Death Star. Let's take the story of the rebellion. Let's take this whole story and let's go to him, and while he's asleep, let's reprogram his mind. Let's put it into his mind, and when he wakes up, he's going to go, hey, I got a great idea. I've got an idea. And his name is Stephen. And Stephen creates a movie. And he builds a Death Star. And he builds on the screen the rebel story. And then one day, some maverick Indian goes, hey, listen to this story. And he jumps up, whoa, wait a minute. I made that up. It came to me in a dream. I made the damn thing up. It's my story. No. That was planted. And I'm going to plant in her mind the story of minotaurs and unicorns, and you write the book. And then when somebody says, unicorns are real, and the minotaur was real, and she says, no, wait a minute. I made it up. I made it up, guys. No. You were reprogrammed. So here's what I'm going to suggest to you, and it's the very same thing I started with last night. Myth is reality. History is fabrication. Churches are a crock. The Bible is a crock. You've been lied to, you've been deceived, you've been manipulated. Go to the damn light. You're going to be reprogrammed. You're going to come back and you're going to pay your taxes faithfully and loyally every single day. You're going to pledge allegiance. You're going to get your watch after 20 years. This is all a crock. But here's my saving grace. I believe with all my heart and soul, with that damn irrational fire, that some of you know what I'm telling you. It's got to be reverberating inside your bones, going like, oh, I knew it. I knew I had a reason to believe in unicorns. I knew I liked the Minotaur and legends, and I knew Disney was right when he built the story of the Beauty and the Beast, and I love Star Wars because I remember it. Am I making any sense, guys? Good. Because we've been lied to. Because we've had our own world, our lives taken away from us. We're not in control of our lives, guys. That is why we go after New Age philosophies. That is why we go to workshops. That's why we're always seeking and looking with valid intent. And there are some good teachers out there, and they address minor little points here and there. And I don't disagree with them. I think they're right. But you know what I'm going to suggest is crucial? We need to know this whole story so that we can reclaim our planet and reclaim our lives. Now tell me why I'm going to quit on February the 1st of 96.
Why? It would be a year since you started.
February the 1st of 96.
With the January bill.
Okay.
Today's the
I hope I'm making some sense. I hope it fits. Now with that, okay, with all of this, I mean, a lot to think about. I'm gonna leave you with this. I want to take some people to the Canyonlands. I want you to hands-on experiences. You're gonna experience unreal things. You're gonna see evidence of a Prince Aya colony. You're going to see the lights in the skies, and you're going to see the ships, and you're going to see the phenomena. You go with me to the Canyonlands. I'll talk to you about it afterwards. You go to the Canyonlands alone, be careful. Extremely careful. Okay? All right. I've given you a lot. We got just a little time. Would you like to take a break and then go to question and answer, or should we just go straight into question and answer?
Why are you stopping on February 1st? You need to do your question.
Yeah, right on.
And then we'll take a break.
All right? We'll do this. Who said, or who earlier said, I think you call me, how many times am I called the Antichrist? Devil worshiper? In a strict sense, yeah, I'm on the devil's side. I'm the one that they call the devil. God, in a second, I'm on the other side. Commandments? There are plenty of them out there just waiting to be broke, begging to be broke. Am I anti-God? Anti-God in the Bible, yes. Am I anti-system? In a second. I advocate crime? Absolutely. Do I advocate dementia? Perversion? Pleasure? Sure. That's your calling. My phones are tapped. I've been shot several times. I've had cars explode from under me. I have been chased, yes, by the FBI and others. I have had all kinds of difficulties. I'm very good at playing the game, but I tell you what, I want to stay alive. I don't want to end up in jail. I don't want to end up doing anything. What I need to do is this. I need to go to Seattle. I need to go to Portland, San Francisco, Las Vegas, Phoenix. I need to go to Houston, Texas, and I need to find some severely demented people. If this makes any sense to you, you know what you got to do? You've got to find a way to get me back here before February the 1st of 96, and then we're going to take it even further. We're going to find out what we can do to the system. We're going to find out how we can unlock some of these memories. But I also need you to go to the Canyonlands with me. Now, if I can find a handful of people in Houston who say, look, we need to bring him back, we need to do some more workshops, and then if some of you are willing to go to the Canyonlands with me, willing to go to Australia, willing to go to New Zealand, I'll take you, I'll show you how to be a shaman. I'll show you some secrets of being a shaman. Prince Aya's knowledge is waiting, but this is not a success course. Your friends, your relatives, and your loved ones are going to go, what happened to you, man? What did that guy do to you? Richard's wife is convinced I'm Satan because I took him away from her. BS bullshit. I gave him an opportunity to become himself. Do not follow this path. It's dangerous. People are going to think you're nuts. Everyone that you ever loved is going to think, what's wrong with you? Did he brainwash you? No. I gave you an opportunity to be you.
Robert.
So you got to bring me back. Yes, ma'am.
Before you close out, in the tape that Ted was showing us, that where it shows like UFOs in space, and they're fighting. All right, and it also shows the close-up of one UFO there at the space shuttle. But is this part of the battle of keeping
Yes.
the good ones out and the bad ones staying in?
Yep. The battle is about keeping those who want to bust the system up. It's about keeping them out. There are many, many videos now. And take a look at a lot of what's going on. Do you know that we can't get live pictures from Mars anymore? You cannot get any recent pictures of the moon. Anything you get has to be before, what, 82 or 83 pictures of the moon. Why can't we get, with all the technology, why can't we get these videos now, these transmissions, when we used to get them all the time in the 60s? Why? Because we're going to find out there's a war out there and we're the prize. Well, you know what? I ain't nobody's prize. I'm a pissed off Indian, and I want my own space with my own universe. I got an attitude. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Did you see the recent televised program that showed the view from our recent, one of our recent space trips with the lights that were going?
I'm trying to hit the ship, and the ship does a zigzag. Is that the one?
Yeah, where they're saying they were UFOs. They were specks.
Look, guys, I want you to check out everything I've claimed. I want you to look at the glyphs. I want you to get the terra papers. I want you to rip them to shreds. I want you to look up what lɒ�EYA means in hieroglyphs. I want you to look at the videotapes. Have I made any sense? Have I presented a case? I don't know. But you've got to bring me back. I don't have that much time. And some of you have got to go with me, because some of you are going to become ASU. It is necessary to go in. We don't want to shake. We're not going to evangelize. We're not going to force people to look at it. We just want to say, does this make sense? Take another step over here. Does this make sense? Take another step over here. It has to make sense to you. You've got to know it, which is why I love the concept of the club of choice. Or choices, excuse me. These are things you must know. Don't accept it. Challenge it. And I will stand on the work itself. Don't believe me, I'll stand on the story. Okay? Question, what about the elder? What happened to him? What does he look like? Where does he live? Has he gone home? Is he alive? All right, let's start. Okay. We have recently been asked to reprint. I tried to tell this story in Australia about 4 years ago. Boy, I thought the United States was conservative. You ain't seen conservative until you go to Australia. Well, we have the story of the Star Elder, and we're going to reprint that book. Actually, we were just talking about it this morning. I think we're going to get it reprinted. And in the story, we tell about the Star Elder. Who was he? He's from the Pleiades. He was on the scout ship. He got down. But he found some primitives who were using the same disciplines and traditions and philosophies, the same way of life that he grew up with, and becoming a warrior in the Pleiades. The focusing, the vision quest, the centering, the techniques. So he decided to stay. He did not leave right away. In fact, there was some practicality. Why endanger another ship coming down on a rescue mission? Just stay away. I'm okay with these savages. And they began to trade. In the story, the Star Elder in the Australian version, I explain that to communicate with the Star Elder, with the Pleiadians, there isn't a use of lips. You don't actually speak. And it isn't, and I'm not sure I like telepathy. It's more about feeling the whole thing. If you really love someone, you know, and you look at them, and you know what they're thinking. It's not a look, it's not a word, it's just, you know how you just know that? Huh? It's a knowing. Now, is that telepathy? I don't think so. I think telepathy literally means from mind to mind. What the elder does is what you and I do all the time, because God bless us, we have that gift. We can feel another person. And what the elder did when he first began to communicate was he tried to make them feel the asteroid, the collision, the destruction, and the war. And if suddenly you're sitting there and all of a sudden, bam, you feel the explosions, you feel the heat from the laser lights, you feel all this, it's just overwhelming. So he tried, and it was too much. So he resorted to a crystal to create the images. The first thing I have to do is, if I'm going to teach you to communicate with me in the Apache language, any language, I first have to get you to admit there is that language to begin with, that it can be done. You have to see it in action. And so little by little, you teach how to do it, using the tongue, using the lips, using the sounds, and forming the sounds to make words. So communication now is, you just feel it. Questions. Did the Star Elder go back? Yes, in time he did go back. Has he ever returned to Earth? Yes, he has. He was here as recent as a couple of weeks ago. Am I in contact with him? No. I don't want to be in contact with him. I don't want to know where he is. But is he in contact with me? You damn betcha. Because there are times I go, whoa. All right, I'll be right there. We know. Is he alive? Yes. How old is he? Last count, probably a little over 700,000 years. Did you know that the human body is capable of living well over 1,000 years? We are built and programmed, we are programmed to self-destruct. We are programmed to become obsolete and die before we become 100. Why? Because if we live to be 200, 300, or 500, damn good chance we're going to remember, and we might cop an attitude, and we might want our planet back. So we are designed and programmed to self-destruct. We're designed to fight with each other. We're designed to focus on each other's weakness and attack each other rather than go, damn, I remember, I want my planet back. We have to admit there are aliens before we can take our planet back.
Why do we have any more right to the planet than people who created us and who engineered us?
We don't. They can claim it as easily as we can claim it. But there's a catch in galactic law. Possession. We're here, and if we go, this is our world, and we have a legal right to it, a blood right to it, we can claim it. We're here, man.
What you're saying, though, is that since we self-destruct and we die before the age of 150, whatever, we go to the light.
And we get reprogrammed, and we come back. Exactly.
Okay, so we reincarnate.
Yes.
And if we don't go to the light, if we go to ourselves, what happens?
Okay, you got a choice. You can come back, or you can go somewhere else. Now, I'm going to apologize because we now are on the verge of what I call Earth 101. What the hell am I doing here?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, why are
Now,
we here?
what do I do? Right? I'm not going to have...
What's our mission?
I'm not going to have time, but let's do this. Here's some advice from the elder. This is not mine, this is from the elder. You're not going to change the system. You're not going to go into a court of law, and you're not going to make a difference. If you make a difference, it's going to last 10 years max. And then the system is going to find a way to override that. Do you know that Jesus, Jesus, went out there, he preached the maverick religion, and it worked. For a short time, he got the system to change. But you know what happened? That very maverick teaching that he was using has now been bastardized, it's been twisted, and it now becomes the very foundation of the system that he was trying to undo. The very system took his maverick teachings and twisted it around. So you know what? You're not going to change the system. There's only one thing you can change. You. You're not going to destroy the system. Even if you could, there are billions and billions of systems waiting to step in. You could kill the reptilian queen, and there are 1,000 million queens waiting behind her. You could undo the Syrian kings, and there's 1,000 Syrian kings waiting. Guys, we're not going to undo the system. We're not going to destroy it. The only thing that we can do is carve out a little niche for ourselves. And that's what it's about. Your task is not to save the world. Your task is to save you. If you go looking for salvation out there, whether it be God, a religion, a bank, or a savior. A bank? The answer, tell me you don't know this, isn't out there. The answer's in there. You know this story. All I'm doing is going ding, ding, ding. Remember this? I'm hoping you do. Tell me you don't know. The answer is not out there. Salvation is not out there. God is not out there. God is tḻореṟ and Lord and Lil and the sister. That's what God is.
February
Yeah, what happens?
February 1st.
Ka, ultimate Ka, ultimate male essence. Lord Creator, Lord Father. Hot, or dental T. This is a sound, a G. This is
God.
God. The term God literally means a male essence. There is no God. It's a title, man. It's a title. How can you blaspheme the name of God when you say, God damn it? You didn't. You used the title. All right? I hope I'm making sense. All right. Go after you. What did the Star Elder look like? If he was walking the streets of Houston and he was in the mall, you might look at him and go like, wow, that's a strange little dude. And then you keep on going. It's only if you stopped and looked at him very carefully, you might begin to pick up those subtle little differences. How many of you know what an owl looks like? Okay? How many of you know what a great horned owl looks like? How many of you know what a small spotted owl looks like? In other words, what I'm trying to say is, generally I think we all know what an owl looks like, but it takes a real expert to be able to pick out the different species of owls. We're all real good at picking out the humanoids, but it takes a real expert to pick out the species of humanoids known as gray hybrids, Canadian hybrids. In other words, they're still here, and they're walking around, and some of them are not reprogrammed, and some of them know exactly what's going on. We don't recognize them as one of them. We recognize them as one of us. But the problem is that we are one of them. Okay? Questions? Actually, I think we better wrap it up.
One question.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if you addressed it or not. Would you talk to us about the mobile phone?
You're so good at this. You're really good.
What
Okay.
else are you going to do after February 1st?
Okay.
Why are you keeping avoiding that? Why is that avoiding?
What is the question you're answering?
Okay. We are an electronic biochemical being. Effectively, we are nothing but a little light. We are a ball of energy. Each one of us vibrate at a different frequency. We all vibrate within a certain realm. However, as we said last night, your brain waves, your mind functions on a specific frequency, right? Every time you have a thought, a brainwave goes out there at a certain frequency. Telepathy is when another brainwave comes into your mind. That's psychic ability. That's telepathy. You can receive as well as you can send. Now, the lizard hybrids, the Shet2 said, we've got to put a collar on the beast. We've got to control him. Well, how do you do that? You can implant in the head, behind the ear, in the nasal passages, some sort of a tiny little metal implant that gives off a tiny little frequency wave that is on the same frequency as this brain, and you can influence him. The only way we're going to plant a dream in Stephen's mind is we've got to send a wave into his head at the same frequency that he transmits. So, let's plant something behind his ear. Then we can control his thoughts, and we can monitor his thoughts. But the beast is now beginning to get wiser. Whoops. He's not going to accept an implant in his ear. He's not going to accept a chip in his cheek, man. Have you heard that one? Little tiny chips they're going to put in the cheek. They're doing it in Australia. They put a little tiny chip in a dog's cheek. It carries all of the history of the dog, the medical history, who he lives with, what his address is, what his name is. Now they want to do it to human beings. That way, you will never lose your child. If anyone ever gets lost, all they have to do is scan your cheek. They'll know who you are, what your social security number is, what your employment is. They can track you with the damn chip. Well, the beast is going, dude, you ain't putting no monitor, no chip in my head. So the lizard says, well, maybe we could put something around his neck. No way, dude. I ain't wearing that around my neck. So one of the lizards, God, they're brilliant. They're so devious. They said, you know what? I got an idea. We can't implant him, and we can't tag him. I know what let's do. Let's take a device that functions at exactly the same frequency as brainwaves. And let's sell him the idea he has to have it. It is a way to transmit signals and receive signals. Got it. A cellular phone. Did you know that of all the electronic devices that we use today, there is only one that matches the same frequency as our brainwaves? 7 megahertz? 7 to 10. Please check the frequency of cellular phones. And you know what happens? They become addicted because they're functioning at the same frequency of your own brainwave, and so you start getting, whoa, and you want it there all the time, which permits you to be monitored as well as transmitted to. You're gonna have a damn thing right here. And you know what? You need it. You want it. And you are gonna pay for it. And you know what else? Here's a wager. Not only is cellular phone going to increase, that's going to demand more telephone frequency lines that accommodate cellular lines. So look for the FCC in the next couple of years to go, we are going to allow 1,000 more lines for cellular phones. And they're going to become smaller, they're going to be more compact, they're going to be less expensive, and you're going to get them to your kids. Give it to your kid. That way your kid will never get lost. You can always call home and give it to your loved one so that when she's out on the road or she has to, she's going to be fine. You're going to have that cellular phone here all the time. And not only does it monitor you and transmit signals into your head, it gives you damn cancer. It's a way to destruct, self-destruct, and we pay for it.
Does a car phone operate the same?
That is
Yes.
cellular phone.
Not quite as strong as this portable, but yes, there's no difference.
What about?
And you know what else you gotta watch out for? You terrify me.
Is it beepers?
TV, television.
These huge electrical towers that blanket the earth. And the purpose of the towers is to fill the atmosphere with an electronic blanket that cannot be pierced. So that if the Pleiadians want to go, zap, you're going to remember, you're going to become an ASU, you've got too much electrical noise going on around you. This is serving to create a blanket to dull and nullify your senses. As a matter of fact, this town scares me. I've never seen so many of them damn towers in any one town.
Are you talking about the one that Lincoln learns how to transfer?
Talking about microwave.
Microwaves. And the whole point is to make you go, wow, it feels heavy here today. Wow. Don't get excited. Don't get pissed. Just maintain and you're in a cloud. That scares me as much as that. It's all about maintaining the system. Remember, and the prophet shall lead them.
The Pleiadians are like the systems busters, are essentially the good guys.
Barbara Marciniak stuff.
The Astar Command point is Pleiadian.
I'm
And
sorry?
you're saying Astar Command is connected to Isis, who was not good. So what's the deal?
I'm saying, check me out. Check out my story. Challenge it, question it, go after it. If I make sense, great. If I don't, that's great too. Guys, I have come in here, and my job is to try to rip down all the walls and try to rip down all your beliefs and to take down the foundation and to bear you to the truth. And once I rip these walls down, please ask my bro Rich, we have cried together, man. We have spilled blood together. This son of a bitch, it hurts. And I never loved anyone more than I love him. But it hurts, man. And I'm going to tear down the wall. And I'm going to show you the truth. But by God, I am not going to rebuild the walls. I am not going to rebuild your belief system. I am not going to give you salvation. That's your job, man. I'm a son of a bitch. Because I want you to see the truth. And I'll cry with you. I'll be damned if I'm going to give you your life back. That's your job. Okay? That's your job. So,
February 1st, 1996.
what about it?
You brought the subject up.
Yeah.
Stop it. You keep bringing it up.
Tell me why I am going to quit doing this on February the 1st of 1996.
You're a danger to the system.
You're going to, if you don't have enough people that have interest to help you.
I need some help. I need some of you to bring me back. I need you to help me raise the money to get a computer. Do you know we had a whole office set up in Las Vegas? We had copiers, we had fax machines, we had phones, we had computers, we had an internet connection, we had all kinds of stuff. And you know what? They went in and they hit us. And they took all the electronic stuff. They didn't take the microwave. They didn't take the furniture. They didn't take some of this other stuff. They didn't take some of the Indian artifacts. They took the electronic stuff. They took all my discs. They took all the hard copy. So you know what? I've got to rebuild it. But you know, I was pretty dumb. I was a primitive. So I sent copies of my discs to other primitives on the reservation. So I got them back. Now I've got to get a new computer. I don't have a computer. Part of the reason that I'm doing this is I'm hoping some of you go, I got a computer.
I have a computer. I go on the internet.
I can help you. I can crunch data. I can print out copies. I'll help you put together another workshop so that I can learn some more. I want you to be selfish because if this sounds good to you, be damn selfish and find a way to bring me back so that we can turn on some other people or turn off some other people, piss some people off and get some people really excited. We need to let people know. We got to get 51% of the planet to go, I remember this and I want my damn planet back. I need some help. I need some cover. In the middle of the night, if I call up and say, whoops, Phoenix is hot, I gotta go somewhere, Houston's hotter. Look, guys, I am not going to sit here and lie to you. I was chased through Australia. I have had cops. I've had all kinds of problems. I've busted up some things that I shouldn't have busted up. Richard has seen me beat up, man. I've suffered radiation poison. You want to see a ship? You want to know how to get in? You want to mess up a grave? I'll show you how to do this, but you got to know how to get out. And one of these days, in the middle of the night, you're going to get a phone call from an Indian that goes, hide me, man. I need to get away from the cops for 2 or 3 days. I need to get away from the system. The IRS is after me. I need a place to stay. I need a meal, man. Help me do another workshop. That's what I need. I need criminals. Yes.
So to what purpose are we doing this? All the rewards are built into the system. You say we're not going to destroy the system. So what are we doing? What are we creating?
Freedom.
You're creating a sense
Well, I have freedom. I've
of
already given up the system. I've already done all that. I believe all the things that you're saying. I've already experienced those things. But I still don't feel my purpose.
You haven't found it yourself.
Are you asking me to give you an answer?
Gotta go in.
silly us, yeah.
I'm not being facetious.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm challenging other people to think about this. It's like, okay, I don't want to be part of the system anymore. I've already divorced that. But if you're not part of the system,
Did you pay your taxes?
no.
Have a driver's license?
If there's an IRS person here, it comes
been
up for
looking for
renewal in
you.
August. If it comes up for renewal in August, no.
Okay. Now the question is, what do you do? You know
Right.
what my answer is? What do you want to do? Oh, hell, I got freedom. oh, damn it, I gotta decide what I want to do for myself.
But it's
Well-
hardwired into us to want to serve. You've already said that. You've stated it's
No,
hardwired
no,
that it's
no, it's not hardwired.
That's what
You're-
you said.
No, ma'am. What I said was you're programmed to serve. You're not hardwired. You're hardwired to bunk. You're hardwired to be a renegade. You're hardwired to be passionate. You're not hardwired to serve. Is that correct? You're programmed to serve. There is a difference.
Then why is service such a passion? With every person in this room, if you ask them what they want to do, why is it such a passion? They're all programmed?
You're programmed to serve. But there is a dangerously close impulse to care. There's a difference between serving someone and caring for someone. I think it's referred to as like codependency. I serve you, you serve me. I'm loyal to you, you're loyal to me. I love this unconditional love, BS. Oh, unconditional love. But you gotta live with me, and you gotta be loyal to me, and you gotta be faithful to me, and you gotta do what I want you to do, and you gotta be with me 90 days a week, 90 days a week, 7 days a week. Unconditional love says, go when you want, come back when you want, I'll love you no matter wherever you go.
Right.
That's unconditional love. But if you go, you better be here Friday night, or I don't love you anymore, that's conditional love. Unconditional love, is no marriage license. Unconditional love says, I'll live here, and you can go over there if you want. I trust you to go be with her, I go trust you to be with him. That's unconditional love.
I understand that. I'm talking about service. You're up
I'm
there
talking
serving
about
us
care.
right now.
No, ma'am. If I'm serving you, I'm destroying your belief system, I'm going after your ass, and I'm sitting here telling you, I'm going to take it down, and I'm not going to rebuild it, because you know what? I don't owe you shit. I am doing this because I believe in what I am doing. I believe in independence, renegade, freedom, that stuff. You like it? Join me. Share with me. But I am not anybody's teacher. I do not take apprentices. I am nobody's messiah, nobody's guru. I am here basically to say, do you like this? You want to do this? Then you come because you want to. I'm making sense.
Yes, but why do you need to do that?
I don't need to do it.
Then why do you do that?
That's why February the 1st, I quit. I'm sure most of you understand. I don't need to. I'm not serving anybody. I'm pissed. I got an attitude. I'm after the system. I'm after criminals, demented renegades who love to bump. God damn it.
Canyon,
Okay, listen.
Canyonlands. Tell us about Canyon.
Okay, wait just a second. I gotta thank Mary. Thank you for the opportunity.
Welcome.
It's been phenomenal. Richard and I were talking last night before the dinner meeting, and I thought, whoa, am I in the wrong place? Love and light and peace and the New Age and the philosophies, which I'm not really denigrating, but I thought, boy, I don't fit here, because I'm going to sit here and I'm going to hit these people between the eyes. I'm going to go after everything that they ever believed in, and man, they're going to walk on me. I'll be lucky if I get 2 people at the workshop tomorrow. And I went in, and as soon as I got up there, now let's not get cliche, but you know what? I went up there and it's like, whoa, you guys are screwed, man. You like this stuff, and as I kept going, you kept feeding me, man. I'm sitting here, I probably lose 2 pounds every time I do one of these workshops. I get worked up because you guys are feeding me. I feed off of your dementia. If it makes sense. That's good for you too. It's the second best feeling we're in. You know what, guys? I've sat here and I have bared my soul to you. I'm telling you my story, my blessing and my curse. And I hope some of it makes sense. If some of you want to continue, you got to come back. You You gotta bring me back. You gotta go with me to the Canyonlands. I'm not going to rebuild the system for you. I'm not going to give you a new faith. I'm not going to teach you. I'm going to show you. I want you to make decisions. And you know what? I'm going to get pissed at you. I'm going to go after you with a vengeance, huh, Richard? And I'm going to make damn sure if you tell me I want to know the truth, but by God, I'm going to strip you of all your prejudices and all your experiences. I'm going to say, all right, goddammit, let's go take a look at the truth. And then you decide if you want to continue. You bail out any time you want. No problem. And I don't need it. I'm not going to serve you. And on February the 1st, I fucking quit. So, unless I can get some help, I need help in all aspects. And it's over. And it's up to you to talk to your kids. And you talk to your friends. And you become an ASU. And you find out what it's like to be up here. To be chased after. Well, let me tell you this. Thank you.